To join them, use promo code FOOTBALL for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code FOOTBALL. Use code FOOTBALL for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
79-52 Vanderbilt.
And I think he's going to coach him up by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's showtime.
And welcome into the Friday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, helping home buyers and sellers in Middle Tennessee for 20 years. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Friday morning. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's Friday, which is one of the most annoying things anyone's ever said.
It is. Nick Keyser, how are you?
Doing well. Robby and Rexrode was rolling deep at the Predators game last night. We have all rallied and recovered for our program this morning.
Recovered is a strong word, but we have rallied. I got to tell you, I'm an old man. That one's got me shook last night, Joe. It's got me shook.
Yeah, you're an old man, huh?
Yeah.
You talk to me about being an old man.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, well, you welcome to the club. There's a few initiation things you got to do first, like have all your bones hurt whenever you turn over in bed.
We'll get there.
Yeah, you get there. You're on your way.
Right. We'll get there at some point. We got a lot to get to on the program here today. We'll have Jared Stillman on at 7 o'clock. I joined him on his show yesterday at 5:30, and then Jared and Joe basically had a show of their own in the press box for an hour before the game yesterday. So lots of Jared and Joe this week. He'll be with us at 7 o'clock on the program here today. Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, at 8 o'clock. Jared's following you around lately.
Hey, Jared, here's $5. Why don't you go get yourself ice cream, buddy? That's what I should have done. Jared, what can I do to bribe you to leave?
They got all kinds of new food items here. Go try some out.
Yeah, the banana pudding funnel fries, which sounds like, I mean, like insta coronary for me anyway. I think Glennon got annoyed up there that we were arguing about sports for so long near him. Suck it up, Glennon.
Yep, get over it, Glennon. Preds win 3-0 last night. UC Saros with the first shutout of the season, his 21st shutout of his career against the good Lord, Seattle Kraken. See, that's how tired I am. I forgot who they played last night for a second.
It's okay. It was easy to forget them. They're very forgettable.
They were very forgettable last night. There's no question about that. Juuso Parssinen with an empty netter for his second goal of the season. So right now, Parssinen on pace to score 82 goals. Joe Rexrode taking a 2-1-1-0 lead in the Preds Pick to Click competition. So Rexrode off to a hot start in Preds Pick to Click. So way to go,
yeah, baby.
Way to go, Rexrode. Gustav Nyquist gets his first goal as a member of the Predators, and a silky smooth goal last night, Joe, from Colton Sissons, shorthanded. Nice kind of a lead area pass from Cole Smith, and Preds win 3-0. I thought they looked pretty impressive from start to finish. I thought from about the second half of the second period, really on, I thought they were just the better team in that game.
Yeah, they played well overall, and it was fun to watch. They were fun to watch. Not only, creating some chances. I mean, like Forsberg, he did not get rewarded, but he was doing stuff last night. Just, throwing people around. And yeah, I mean, he just had a tough night in terms of finishing, but that line looks really good. And also, as you I know wrote about it on NHL.com, and also you were talking about when I know with McDonough after the game, that particular penalty kill where they couldn't get off the ice for like, a minute 40, 45, yeah. Right? Where to the point where it was like, I mean, I was sitting there next to Paul Scarita. It's like, look, those dudes can't skate anymore. Like, look at them. Like they're just like sucking wind and trying to stay like upright. That was a heck of a penalty kill. And like you said, what McDonough had 3 block shots on that. Is that right?
3 block shots on the one. And it came kind of like he had 3 block shots and he got his stick in the lane of a passing lane, like just right there in a row. It was basically like, if you wanted to put together a highlight package of why like Barry Trotz and everybody that's ever around Ryan McDonough love Ryan McDonough, it would be that penalty kill last night. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, and he's McDonough has been an ad of what like Barry Trotz clearly has been looking for here, right? In terms of kind of changing things over, strengthening the veteran leadership core, which of course Ryan O'Reilly is absolutely, right in the middle of that too. So,
yep.
So they've got, it's like, I thought about this, there was so much, and I think everybody talks about this here and there, but like there was so much with the last regime talking about being hard to play against, right?
Yes.
And everybody does want to be hard to play against. Okay. But you don't want to be hard to watch. So, right. And this team, I think this team, last night was an example of, they were tough. You have to be tough and gritty. Like there's no way in this league to not have that element and be successful. I think, I guess some teams that are just so skilled, it may be the overwhelming trait or whatever, but still, do you think that there's ever been a great championship team in this league that didn't have a pretty strong element of tough as nails in there somewhere?
No, like you got to have that. And I think
to.
it's both a physical and a mental thing. And look, the game is not as physical as it used to be in terms of just the fighting and the hits and all those things. It's a different game than it was now. But there are different ways to be tough, right? Like the willingness to throw yourself in front of pucks and block those shots, the willingness to get into the corner and dig out a puck and send it out the other way and kill a possession for the other team. Like there's a lot of little bitty plays throughout the course of a hockey game that you have to make. And look, I thought the most encouraging thing last night for the Predators was they looked like they were making all of them. Like they were making the block shots. They were getting into the corner. They were chipping pucks out of the zone when they had to. When they didn't have a play offensively, they weren't trying to force it, which I thought was important, which they did a lot during the preseason, which ended up going the other way back on, 3-on-1s, 2-on-1s the other way. So they just looked like a really disciplined team to me last night. Fabro came in. Luke Shen was out with a lower body injury. Fabro came in. I thought he played great. Fabro looked great to me last night, which if they could get that version of Dante Fabro more often than not, then they're going to be in pretty good shape defensively. I thought he and Yossi looked really good together. One concerning thing out of last night, Tommy Novak played 1 shift in the third period. So something to keep an eye on as they move forward there with Novak and what his availability looks like. But I thought Fabro coming in there, the defense core to me really played well and for the most part, did a good job of keeping Seattle outside and made all of the little plays that you want to see your defense core make.
Yeah. UC Saros was great last time. He got his 21st shutout, 23 saves, but he was not, I would not say he was hung out to dry much at all.
Agreed.
It was an overall a pretty sound, and I kind of thought, and look, there's going to be different kinds. I'm sure there's going to be, different kinds of performances and ups and downs and things like that. But I kind of thought early in the season, we might see some games where it's just like, oh my gosh, either he stands on his head or they're giving up 6 tonight. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it just kind of seemed like a team that, kind of knows what is figuring out what it wants to do. And, playing, is there such a thing as complimentary hockey? Can we call it? Yeah, sure. There's complimentary anything, right? They played complimentary hockey last night.
Complimentary hockey last night for the Preds. They get the win 3-0. Andrew Burnett gets his first win as coach, and he was excited about that. He talked yesterday morning just about, how emotional he thought it could be in terms of, flashing back 25 years, him being there for opening night as a player, going through his career as a player, but now as a coach and having the interim tag taken off of him, right? Like he was the interim coach in Florida, and they never hired him to be the actual head coach. So being hired to coach this team, being handed the keys to this franchise, and it was cool to get his perspective on that at the end last night. But Andrew Burnett, wildly popular with Predators. I had people stopping me in the arena last night, Joe, talking about our interview with Andrew Burnett yesterday morning. Preds fans love him, some Andrew Burnett so far.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, Preds fans are mad at no one right now.
No, it's a weird place.
It's been a long time since they weren't mad at anyone. And yeah, they like Burnett. Burnett, it's and by the way, today is the day. Yes, today is the 25th anniversary of his first goal in Preds history.
Yes.
So there you go, a little bit. And also Nick on the text line says, I told him to say it, but apparently he's too busy to produce our show. It took UC Saros 30 games to get his first shutout last season. So there you go.
Way to go, Nick. Good stat.
Nick, you all right, Nick? You good, buddy? Thanks for the stat, Nick.
I'm good now. No, I wanted to share that one quickly because just look at what that means for the entire team. I think someone had asked him last night, maybe it was Scorbina was asking him about what that shutout means, and it's no indication about how they need to play every single night. It's just a testament to how good UC Saros truly is, and I think that was very telling for how sound defensively they were, because that's what I asked Burnett last night about the composure, and I think it does say a lot about what those guys did last night.
Yep, they look good on the defensive side of things, and now you move on to Boston on Saturday. You got Edmonton coming in here on Tuesday. We'll see. Ekholm hasn't played yet for Edmonton. He's been dealing with kind of a hip thing, and I wonder, is he going to be available this weekend? It seems like he's close, so I'm hoping that Ekholm can play on Tuesday when they come back home at Bridgestone. I think it'd be really cool to see him back, and to Ekholm, as you know, Joe, was a guy that was very, very important to what they did in their heyday here. So I know I'm skipping one game ahead already, but I'm looking forward to Tuesday night when Edmonton and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, Matthias Ekholm come back in here.
Yeah, it would be great because tribute to Ekholm, I think would be fitting, would be good. Yes.
Even though they've already given away his number, and Nyquist putting it on the board last night right off the defenseman's skate. Fred, how you draw it up
after getting tackled? Yeah, that's one of those. I'm sitting there last time, like, man, it's going to be a while before I get used to the different 14.
I know.
I'm just like, 14, what? But
he's gotten shorter. What's going on out here?
Yeah, exactly. It's a little 14. What's happening?
I got a text that says, my take is they're going to average 3 goals a game. Should be in most games with that. This from an unnamed texter on the text line.
Say, what were they last year? 2.7?
Yeah, 2.7 something. I have to go look at the specific number, but yeah.
You'd love to be 3.5,
If you get to that, you're going to be living right if you're the Predators, and you'll be in some good shape offensively at that point. 615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll continue the conversation on the Predators. They get the win last night, 3-0 at home against at Bridgestone Arena against the Seattle Kraken. We'll also get into a little UC Saros conversation coming up next. We'll get into Tennessee and Texas A&M coming up later this hour as well. All that ahead. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vanderbilt and Georgia from First Bank Stadium. Kickoff at 11 a.m. Coverage starts at 9:30.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's the final week of the Electronic Express 40th anniversary sale. Visit any of our convenient locations and save up to 40% throughout the entire store. This week, get a TCL 55-inch 4K TV for only $269, or a stainless steel refrigerator only $499. Plus, get up to 60 months special financing on items like a top-load laundry pair, only $349 each, or an HP touchscreen laptop just $699. Sale ends Saturday. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
We gather together in communities across the nation to remember and honor, to celebrate and support, to light the night. We are LLS, and when we walk, cancer runs. Find your local event at lightthenight.org.
Actor Portrayal, based on a real patient experience.
I'm Mike. I'm a husband, proud father of 2, work my butt off 6 days a week, some nights too. When my family or my company needs me to make it happen, I make it happen. But a few months ago, I started having trouble making it happen, in the bedroom. I tried some pills online, but they didn't work. Honestly, I thought about throwing in the towel on my sex life, but I'm not that old. I still want to enjoy intimacy with my wife. Like that poet said, I don't want to just go gently into that good night. So I went to the Tennessee Men's Clinic in Franklin. Got some lab work done, was prescribed some meds, and wow, it made it happen. I can't say enough about them. Their providers took care of me, followed up, and made sure I had a treatment plan that actually works. It's awesome. If I were you, and you're like me, I'd give them a call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. If you're like most guys, they'll make it happen for you too.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
1025 The Game is proud to support our advertising partner, Pella Window and Doors of Nashville, on their charitable efforts for breast cancer in action. Tune in Monday for the Chase and Big Joe Show, along with Jared Stillman, live at the Pella Windows and Doors Customer Appreciation Golf Tournament.
Green Trees Company Dispensary and 1025 The Game want to send you to see Kiss at Bridgestone Arena October 23rd. Keep listening to Nashville's best sports talk for your chance to win tickets to see Kiss on their End of the Road tour, courtesy of Green Trees Company Dispensary.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tune in to 1025, 1063 The Game tomorrow for our college football game of the week, presented by Twin Peaks as Vanderbilt takes on Georgia at 11 a.m. with pregame beginning at 9:30. Take your tailgate to Twin Peaks for scenic views of all the hottest college football games across the country and home of the 29-degree beer. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, live from our 1025 The Game studio, brought to you by Hitler Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Preds win 3-0 last night. They get their first win of the season. Let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Bob. Bob, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Good morning, guys. A lot was made of the new system that Brunette has brought in. After 2 games, I know it's difficult to ascertain much, but have you noticed any difference in their style of play this year so far compared to last year?
Yep. Thanks for the call, Bob. Here's what I would say, Joe. They want to play with a much better pace offensively. And what I mean by that is I think you focus mainly on transition game, right? Like you want to turn the puck over in terms of forcing a turnover and get going the other way quickly on the rush. And I think you've seen them do that at times. I still think there's a ways to go in terms of what he wants them to be. And look, he kind of talked about that yesterday too. Like they made some progress since training camp, certainly since the preseason games. And they've looked, I think Paul Skrbina of the Tennessean laid this out pretty well last night, Joe. They played 6 periods so far this year. I think they've looked pretty good in 5 of them. Like they've looked pretty good in 5 of them to this point, which is encouraging because honestly, I didn't expect that. Like I expected it to be kind of a slower build for the Predators to begin the season than I think it has been to this point. Now that can change. Look, they may go to Boston and just look lost on Saturday. We'll see. But the Adrian Burnett wants to play with, I think, a little bit more speed, a little bit more emphasis on carrying the puck in the zone yourself and trying to set up offense that way. And, I don't know quite yet that the Predators are equipped to play with the speed that he wants them to play with, just foot speed wise. Like I still think they need some faster players in their lineup, and Barry Trotz is going to try to get that as they continue to build the team here. But I do think they're making progress, and I think the last 5 periods have been very encouraging to the way he wants them to play.
Yeah, I mean, he does talk about pressure quite a bit, and really has from the start too, and that's maybe part of it that's not as talked about, but that's a big part of it too. So, yeah, I mean, I everything you said makes sense. Yeah, Bob, it's not like I'm looking out there and I feel like it's just a completely different, style of hockey. Obviously it's a lot of the same guys, but one thing is, I feel like so far, and he's had some chances, and just also it's been kind of some tough luck for 9 and for 59 so far, like they've had some, but I feel like maybe there's going to be a little bit less reliance on Yossi in particular to drive everything, which I think is intentional, but I don't know, I mean, that's just a couple games in, and I don't want to draw hard and fast conclusions, but what do you think about that?
I think they clearly want to get the puck up to the forwards quicker. So I'm not saying that you're not going to see Roman Yossi or Tyson Barrie or whoever carry the mail through the neutral zone, because Yossi's the best in the league at it. I mean, the numbers would tell you that Yossi's better at going through the neutral zone and establishing possession offensively. He's literally better than every player, and that includes Connor McDavid in those stats. So he's gonna carry it. But I have noticed look up ice and get the puck up the ice quickly to your forwards much more often through 2 games than I think you're used to seeing. Like the play that Forsberg made the other day to O'Reilly for his goal is a perfect example. McDonough gets the puck behind the net and immediately looks up, makes a 115-foot pass to Forsberg, and they're off and running at that point. Like I think there's going to be a heavy emphasis on that. And that's kind of, the transition game of what I was talking about, getting the puck up the ice quick.
By the way, who made the pass to Forsberg last night? That absolutely ridiculous pass.
It was Fabro. It was unbelievable.
That was Fabro. Yeah. That was incredible. I mean, man, that should have resulted in an assist, but that's a good example too.
So on the Saros front, Joe, I mean, you caught up yesterday with Barry Trotz. You spoke with UC Saros. It's been an interesting time for Saros. He gets the shutout last night. We've talked so much on this show. It's been talked about throughout the circles in the NHL about his contract, his future with the Predators. What's that going to look like? Are they going to make a move to trade him at some point? Is it going to be Yaroslav Askarov who eventually takes over as starting goalie for the Predators? And there's still some time before all this has to be figured out. He can't officially sign an extension until July 1st of next summer. But what have you kind of gleaned about the UC Saros situation that the Predators find themselves in as we begin the season here?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to trade him. And maybe that's, it's not like that's all of a sudden, 180-degree turn. I mean, the fact that he didn't get traded off last off season was a big opportunity. So then it's like, okay, I mean, that increases the chance he's going to be here, right? But I think that the plan seems to be extend him, which then my next thing is, okay, so you're trading Askarov. And I'll read a quote to you from Barry Trotz. He said, quote, I asked him just how he views the situation, because I mean, he did agree, and he has said many times, like an asset for one of those goaltenders makes sense, right?
Right.
I mean, look, the Preds have talked with teams about both guys. I mean, that's absolutely established. And Trotz has said also many times, like he tried to get to the top of the draft last year. He wanted to, he tried to, he couldn't get there. But this quote says, like, quote, I view it probably the same way as Pekka and Saros. And I don't know that I agree with that, or if that's the best way. The difference, and I said this, but the difference, right, is like Saros is a 4th-round pick and is like, wow, this guy's pretty good. And you have a few years of, that's a nice backup, right? Where like Saros as a prospect early in his career, it was not some big commodity, right? Whereas a Askarov is right now the number 11 overall pick and a guy who seems to have all the traits to be a great goaltender. So we've talked about this a bunch, right? We've talked about the idea, it just doesn't make sense to have both of them, to pay Saros, and I think he'll probably be around where Hellebuck was or is, right? Hellebuck just got the 8.5 AAV.
Probably a little bit more with the cap going up would be my guess, but right around there, yeah.
So you'd say 9?
In that neighborhood, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a big difference from 5. And so then obviously, I mean, you have, price control on Askarov, but I guess I never thought it might get to that, but maybe it will get to that. Hey, that's a heck of a goal. That's a potential heck of a combo. It does seem to me like, assets could be fetched somewhere in here, and they're so needy elsewhere, but I don't know. Maybe that's what and if that's the case, the Preds might have 35 straight years of like a great goaltender, you could look at it that way.
You could. I mean, it'd be just a goalie factory that they could put together at that point. It's an interesting thought. Like the bigger difference between like the Pekka and Saros situation to me is just the age, right? Like Pekka was in his 30s when Saros came on the scene, and Saros right now is 28 years old. By the time they give him a new contract, let's say they decide to extend him next offseason, well, it'd be 29. So theoretically, Saros would still have, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years of being paid like a number 1 goalie in the league. So
right,
like it's difficult for me to get to like Askarov just waiting in the wings for that long. The age part of it is the big difference to me.
Right. And the thing is now, look, a lot of teams want to split it up more, right?
Yep.
Which is great, but then it's like, so okay, but you paying the dude $9 million, So right. I mean, look, if you have 2 great goalies and you can split it a little bit more, and it's more like 52-30 or whatever, then I mean that's a nice benefit. You're fresh in the postseason. You can go either way in the postseason, all that stuff. But yeah, it's like just still a lot of investment. So it's interesting. But look, there's a lot that Barry Trotz said yesterday that to me was like, oh, okay, including, I'll go to another quote. He said, Saros is a star player. I'm going to treat him like a star player. I think he's got lots of hockey left. Askarov is a star prospect, but he paused. He's a star prospect. And that's true. Yeah. I mean, we don't know what Yaroslav is going to be in the NHL. Another thing that was interesting, Robbie, is one of Saros's buddies convinced him that an Elliot Friedman tweet that he had been traded from the Preds was real this summer.
Oops.
I should have sent the audio of Saros talking about this to Nick. I suppose we could still maybe do that. I'll listen to it. It's, you and I were both talking to Saros last night a little bit after the game, but it is funny to think of him frantically going to the internet to make sure he wasn't traded from the Preds.
Total panic mode. Yeah, it is. It was pretty funny to hear him tell that story last night. We'll get that audio a little bit later in the program. Coming up next, we'll get into Tennessee and Texas A&M. A big one coming up at Neyland Stadium for the Vols this weekend. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, buy one DeWalt 20-volt max power stack 5-amp-hour battery kit. Get one select XR Bear tool up to a $249 value free. And earn 2 times MVP's bonus points on select Werner and Little Giant ladders. Lowe's knows pros. Offer valid through 10/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts. Valid through 10/27.
There's a whole lot of savings going on now at Staples. During Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $150 on select office and desk chairs. And when you buy a chair, you save 25% on desks, storage solutions, and office accessories. Plus, your local Staples now accepts Amazon returns. And when you return an Amazon order at Staples, you receive a coupon for $10 off your next $30 Staples purchase. Now is definitely the time to save at Staples. Chair offer ends 10/28, in-store only. Exclusions apply on Amazon offer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
One is a legendary NFL wide receiver.
I gotta be prepared. I have to be ready.
One is a legendary Nashville voice.
You don't have to rely on carrying the ball 250 to 300 times.
And the other has been a legendary trash talker on the playground since the 4th grade.
Nobody is a Pro Bowler on day one of rookie minicamp.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Check out our beautiful faces every morning here on the Robby and Rexrode radio program. I got some tickets to give away to see Fantasia at Ascend Amphitheater coming up on Sunday, October 22nd. Be caller number 3, 615-737-1025, our phone number. 615-737-1025, caller number 3 will win a pair of tickets to see Fantasia at Ascend Amphitheater on Sunday, October 22nd. Joe, a big one tomorrow at Neyland Stadium. Tennessee hosting Texas A&M at Neyland Stadium. The checkered Neyland game, 2:30 CBS. Tennessee fans are mad at Gary Danielson right now for some comments that he made about the stadium, so it could be a wild one tomorrow at Neyland. What are your thoughts, your early impressions of the matchup for Tennessee against Texas A&M?
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, I think it's very easy to get mad at Gary Danielson. Trust me, I know the feeling.
You do.
But I didn't like what he says, like loud is loud. I think there's something to the idea of these stadiums. There's a lot of amazing, this league, incredible atmospheres. Now, G-Man Vols, who is probably one of the best follows on Vol Twitter, sent out a tweet with about 1 million quotes from people who were like, this is the absolute best environment I've, like Baker Mayfield, like a different type of loud and all that stuff.
Yes.
And listen, a couple times in that stadium, I don't know that I've seen anything like it, so but I don't know that it's worth getting mad at Gary Danielson. Just save that for tomorrow when he hates your team and he's just praising the other team, and you tweet about that. Okay. Because tomorrow you're going to be like, he loves the Aggies. Why does he love the Aggies?
Yeah, we were talking with Jimbo, and Jimbo told us that he was gonna throw you. The air raid was coming in tomorrow. You have to watch it, Brad. Can't wait to watch Gary Danielson call a game tomorrow. It's gonna be great.
So you hate him?
Not the biggest fan. Don't hate him though.
Yeah, that's good. I do. But that's for a totally different reason. So, yeah, it's a huge game, man. I mean, you think about I was at when Caroline does a series show with Aaron Murray, and Aaron asked, what's who? I'm really struggling with this. Which coach is this most important, right? More urgent.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, it's like, certainly, like if Jimbo loses this, like it's just the negativity starts to snowball on him. And so I went with him because he kind of, to me, he had a real hand in being cowardly and losing last week. He had a real opportunity to beat Alabama 2 out of 3 years.
Yep.
But, for Heupel, I mean, you think about it, you lose this game. Now you're looking at Bama, Kentucky, and Missouri on the road.
Yep.
And you're looking at Georgia coming into your place, and you're done in the SEC East. And so, like, the negativity that they have staved off since Florida, that's great, but this is a big one. And look, it's a good win if you can get it. I mean, it's a very talented team. Up front defensively, as talented maybe as any team, and the offensive skill, they've got dudes all over the field. So this is a big one.
It's a huge one, and you've got it at home, which is the other thing. Like you mentioned, Alabama, Kentucky, Missouri, every one of those are on the road for Tennessee. So this is an opportunity at home for you to take advantage of that environment that we've talked about and use that to your advantage. For whatever reason, and Joe, you pointed this out, and I think it's clear to anybody who's watched Tennessee play over the last 2 years, the defense at home and the defense on the road are two very different things for the Vols. And I don't know why it's such a dramatic difference, but it has been at times for Tennessee. So you need the defense tomorrow to be the home version of the defense that you've seen time and time again from Tennessee. Like, I think back to the South Carolina game, and we talked about the game heading into it. I didn't really feel like that was necessarily a Joe Milton game. Like it was, can you rush the passer for Tennessee's defense? Can you get after a quarterback with an offensive line in South Carolina that has been terrible? And can you run the ball with any effectiveness, which they did in that game? To me, this is a Joe Milton game because I think Tennessee will be able to run the ball some. They're not going to run for 250 yards like they did against South Carolina against this Texas A&M front. They're just not. So, like, Joe Milton has to be on his A game in this game to me if Tennessee is going to win. This is very much a Joe Milton game to me.
Well, I agree. And I tell you what, Brew McCoy obviously is a big loss for him just as a guy he's built chemistry with and all that stuff. But think about how much Tennessee screens it. I mean, they've screened. A big part of that is that Brew McCoy's a fullback out there.
Yeah.
Like Brew McCoy's out there blowing people up. I mean, it's great to throw screens when and sometimes they throw to him too. But he is often at the head of those screens as a blocker, and he's very effective. And so you take that element out, and whoever else is in there, we'll see. That'll be very interesting. But to me, like Deontay Thornton's got to get on the field more and has got to become more of a threat. And so that's the downfield aspect to me, like going deep on those deep choice situations. I think if he's out there, should be leaned in on. But that also, I think, takes away some of that. Which is basically extension of the running game.
Yeah.
So you lose that element. It's a bigger loss than maybe than some people might think. So I'm with you though. I think Texas A&M has the guys, and I think Alabama next week has the guys to win enough up front that they can get away with those light boxes. And look, I don't see how, even though the Vols offense is way less effective and explosive than it was last year, I still think you have to play it a certain way, so the opportunities are there to run the ball. But yeah, this team is talented enough up front, I think, to make that tougher and to make it so that, Jalen Wright isn't just blasting through with ease like he's done so much this year. So I think it's a Joe Milton game. I think it's a Heupel game, like Halsey, like creativity game. You got to do some different stuff and build on some stuff and take it forward. You got to take that forward. And like you said, the home Vols defense, you hope it shows up. And then can you bottle that up at all? Because big road games are coming.
I think you're going to see them in this game move Squirrel White around a little bit. And what I mean by that is, like Hyatt last year, there were some games where they lined him up in the backfield and ran some wheel routes with him. They lined him up basically like as a glorified tight end on the line of scrimmage and ran some routes that way. I think you're going to see them move Squirrel White around a little bit and do some of that in this game to just try to find different ways to get the ball in his hand. Like Cooper Mays being back, the offensive line as a whole looked way better against South Carolina than it has at any point this season. Now, how much of that is South Carolina and how much of that is the improvement of the Tennessee's offensive line? I don't know. This is going to be the best front that Tennessee has seen by far to this point. So, and you got another one coming next week in Alabama. So the offensive line part of this, how well can they protect in this game? Can they give Joe Milton some time? Because we've seen it when he's under pressure, it's not been very good. So I think, number one, the offensive line, can they protect? But I do think you're going to see Squirrel White heavily moved around in this game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did you see Jimbo talking about him? Like,
That's
Squirrel White. Oh, you got to find that. Yeah, Squirrel White. He's like a squirrel. He's like a real squirrel. Can't catch him. We're learning about that in our learning.
I can see that now.
Our learning buildings here in Texas A&M.
We're a great academic institution, ain't we? Don't you know?
You do a much better Jimbo than I do.
Thank you, Jimbo. Appreciate you, buddy.
We got to find that audio. I can't believe I didn't think about that. He's like a real squirrel.
He's like a real squirrel out there. You can't gather him. It's unbelievable. I will say, I still, Joe, I don't know how good or not good Texas A&M's offense is. Like they've got, Anaya Smith's a really good player. Obviously Max Johnson's coming at quarterback, and they look better. But they still, they went through a stretch last week against Alabama where it was rough offensively, and I know that's Alabama. Can Texas A&M go on the road in an environment like that and be efficient offensively? That's why I still think, I think this game has a chance to be more of a lower scoring game than people think it's going to be.
Oh, I agree. I think that's kind of like, where things have trended with the Vols. And yeah, can Texas A&M, because Max Johnson is an exciting young player. You can get him into making some mistakes. Can they line up and run the ball at Tennessee?
Right.
Same thing. Everything is better at home with that defense, but that's another thing, swarming and not letting teams run the ball. If they can, then, that could be problematic for Tennessee, but that's to me a huge question for this game. They're very talented. There's no doubt about that.
So Tennessee gets a big one tomorrow. Vanderbilt taking on Georgia tomorrow as well. We're going to get to all of our picks in these in Pigskin Pick'em. But Georgia, a 31.5-point favorite against Vanderbilt. Tennessee, only a 3-point favorite against Texas A&M. So when you're factoring in the home environment and all those things, basically a pick'em is what Vegas is telling you in this matchup, Joe.
Yeah. And it's I think that's about right. Look, a lot of that Texas A&M Alabama game, really, you take away, again, a couple, I think, cowardly calls by Jimbo, and then a couple just tremendous shots, by Milroe to Burton, guy who didn't help Bryce Young a lot last year, but is helping Milroe. They were the better team for the better part of that game. And I think, I think Alabama's starting to look more like Alabama, but that's how talented Texas A&M is.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Mark in Nashville. Mark, good morning. Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Hey, what's up, Robby? How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. I let you down, though, man. I let you down.
Oh, that's all right, Joe. We know the fix was on, man. My buddy had called me. He backed out of the bet, man, because you had been winning so much. He was like, "No, man, I don't think I want to do that. Joe's been winning a lot, so I'm gonna want to take that bet off the table." So I let him off the hook, Joe. So we know the fix was on, man. And that question about Kristen Fulton and stuff, man, I think they got that idea when we were talking about it earlier that day, Joe. But you said the right things, but Carolina, I guess, had to let him win one. I don't know, man.
Maybe so.
Pretty
Looks
much
that way.
Yeah, but Robby, you talking about the game Saturday, Texas A&M, Tennessee? I think that I hope Tennessee doesn't get caught looking ahead to playing Alabama next week. Like you said, the defense is going to have to come up big in this game. Texas A&M's a lot better than a lot of people think they are. They just don't have a great coach right now leading the way for them. And, Joe, I was reading the other day where they said Jimbo, they may be talking about letting Jimbo go. I don't know if that's true or not, but could you see a team, a college letting a coach go and still owing this man $76 million? Y'all have a good weekend, man, and I'll talk to y'all next week, Robby.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you, buddy.
Mark. That's a lot still. It's going.
It's
I mean, the number's going down a little bit, but I don't know, man. Yeah, I think if it got real bad this year, it might get to the point, where like the noise is so loud with the money people that that you got to do something. Yeah, it could happen. But I mean, if like if they go 9-3, which I don't know if that's feasible, but like something like that, probably be okay, right?
I think so. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Coming up next, it's time for Call Your Shot Friday. We'll take your called shots, your bold predictions on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Green right, box 2 run, double catch. He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback. Wide 85, take! Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The holidays are a time of celebration and Thanksgiving. It's a time to host friends and family in your home to enjoy good food and good times. The last thing you need is an unexpected issue. If you're planning a gathering this season, take a few minutes to bring out the home experts from Lee Company. For heating, plumbing, electrical, and all your home improvement needs, Lee Company has you covered. Visit LeeCompany.com and schedule your first appointment online. Lee Company, all you need.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? Look no further than Big Play Hendersonville. Get ready to embark on an adventure like no other. Whether you're a kid or a kid at heart, Big Play Hendersonville has something for everyone. And right now, you can get half off a $50 gift card to check out all they have to offer, from bowling to laser tag, indoor go-karts, bumper cars, and more. They offer fantastic food options as well. Big Play isn't just a place, it's an experience. Get half off now at the Game Nashville.com/deals.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I've been taking Nutrafol for about a year.
I've been taking Nutrafol just over 4.5 years.
My hair was thinning.
I just gave birth. I was under a lot of stress.
I like Nutrafol because it's drug-free and the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement.
My hair feels thicker,
stronger.
The breakage is less.
Nutrafol has taken me back to the hair I was meant to have.
Join the 1 million people growing at Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com.
Exergen thermometers are proven to be more accurate than non-contact thermometers. With children back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Clinical studies have proven that non-contact thermometers are inaccurate and can miss fevers. Accuracy matters. That's why the Exergen thermometer is trusted and used by medical professionals. Exergen thermometers are available at Walmart and other participating retailers. Choose a trusted and accurate thermometer for personal use. Learn more about why accuracy matters at Exergen.com.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The sports weekend has arrived. You know what that means. Shoot your shot. It's time for Call Your Shot Friday with Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week, time for Call Your Shot Friday here on Robby and Rexrode. As always, we'll take your called shots, your bold predictions on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Everything on the table. The Titans, the Vols, Vanderbilt, the Preds. I would say the Braves, but that one's now over, which is disappointing. But we'll take your called shots, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode, how did we do last week in Call Your Shot Friday? Our first mute of the day from Rexrode.
Dang it. Okay, here we go. 6 o'clock hour doesn't count. Nick, how about this one? Patriots will bench Mac Jones.
Boy.
Bailey Zappi will come in. Now, he followed that up with... Then Bailey Zappi will start against the Raiders.
I
know. I don't think that is happening. But that's a good one. That's very good.
Close enough.
We'll give you credit.
He got benched. If they could have benched the entire team, I think they would have. But he's one of the guys there, that's getting blamed for this disgusting football. Brock Purdy, 3 touchdowns, but first pick of the season. 330 yards passing.
I don't believe he threw an interception.
Yeah.
He did not throw a pick. Did he have 3 touchdowns? He had some. I mean, he was really good. I don't think he quite had those numbers.
I believe he had
4 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, 4.
He had 4?
That's right.
He had 4 touchdowns. He only had 252 yards passed.
Okay. Well, so you got part of that. And then Christian McCaffrey, 120 and 2 touchdowns. He had 1 touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't quite have that yardage either. Robby, Georgia will beat Kentucky by 4 touchdowns. Well, look at you. I mean, it was more than that, but you were on the right track.
Yes.
Texas blows it, which is a good thought, but more, you said Texas blows it, Oklahoma win by 2 touchdowns. Turns out to be an even more painful way of Texas blowing it.
It was.
Danico Autry will have 3 sacks Sunday in Indy. That did not quite happen.
Not sure he even had 3 tackles.
Nick Folk will have 2 field goals of 50-plus. He had 1.
Only 1.
And first drive of the game, Ryan Tannehill will throw a 50-plus TD pass. That
Negative.
did not happen either. Yeah. Okay, I said Ken Seals will start again. That was accurate. 2 touchdowns and 1 pick at Florida. Actually, did I get that right?
I think you did.
I think I did too. Also, Graham Mertz will throw for 350 on Vandy. Did I get that right too?
You did.
Dang, look at me. I said Oklahoma will win the Red River rivalry on a punt block for a touchdown. It was, it wasn't quite that wild, but they did. We both had Oklahoma, ripping Texas's heart out. So we had that, right.
Well, you got neither one of them right. I'm sorry. Graham Mertz only had 250, but he did complete 30 of 36.
No.
And Ken Seals did have 2 touchdowns. He did not throw an interception.
That's right. He didn't throw a pick. What am I talking about? All right.
So you're totally incorrect.
I apologize, Ken Seals. NWI will have 2 touchdowns, not just 1 in his hometown. He had none. And Anthony Richardson will complete less than 50% for more than 250 yards and throw 2 picks. That didn't happen. He got hurt. So there you go. We had a lot of shots last week.
We did. Nick Keiser, your called shots for this week.
Yeah, I just got 2 quick ones for you guys. I'm going to say this is more of a called shot because we'd probably like to see him step it up a little bit. I doubt he gets this amount of yards, but why not? Derrick Henry, 2 touchdowns, 200 yards rushing in London. Why the hell not?
That's a called shot. I like it.
Yes.
Wait, 2 touchdowns and what?
2 touchdowns.
200 yards.
200 yards.
That'd be a day.
2 Bills. We'll see. Then forward Yakov Trenin for the Nashville Predators scores and gets into a fight against the Boston Bruins tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah. Getting into a little scrap and scoring a goal. I like that. Maybe with Milan Lucic. That'd be a heavyweight bout.
Maybe so. That'd be great.
Joe Rexrode, your called shots for this week.
All right. Lamar Jackson will have a touchdown run of more than 50 yards.
Okay.
Which the Titans, I believe he had one of more than 50 yards in the playoff one here. Christian Fulton will start, will play the whole game, will not be a disaster. I think
that qualifies by now.
I think so. I think all 3 of those things will be a shot. The Tennessee Volunteers, Dylan Sampson, will have 2 touchdowns against the Aggies on Saturday. It's time for Dylan Sampson to pop off again with touchdowns. And Vanderbilt will score a touchdown against Georgia.
Okay. All righty. I thought we were going to go big, and you were calling for the upset. We'll get to that at Pigskin Pick'em. Maybe you are. Maybe it's going to be a nice 10-0 win.
That shot does not tip my hand on the pick. You don't know. I might pick on this. I might go money line.
You might. We'll see what happens. All right, my called shots. Roman Yossi, 3 points against the Boston Bruins on Saturday. So he is not on the board yet. He gets 3 points against Boston. I thought for sure he had a goal last night. That was a heck of a save by Grubauer, but 3 points for Yossi coming up. Squirrel White, we mentioned him and talked about the Texas A&M game. He goes off tomorrow, 10-plus catches, 150-plus yards. Big one for Squirrel White against Texas A&M. James Pierce Jr., 2 sacks and a forced fumble against the Aggies as well. So we got a couple of sacks and a forced fumble. And my final called shot, Christian Fulton with an interception of Lamar Jackson on Sunday in London. Goes to a different continent, gets the interception he's been dying to get, Joe, and all is forgiven with Titans fans.
You and I both are going with the Christian Fulton redemption arc. I'm sure that drives some people crazy.
I'm sure it will set up really well. That's really going to go well.
Yeah. When Vildor starts instead, we'll both hang our heads in shame.
Zach Lyons, friend of the show on the text line, says Gus Edwards will total 130 all-purpose yards for Baltimore, which would probably not be good news for the Titans. Missouri and Texas A&M will walk away with wins by a touchdown or more in college football. And in non-sports, Stillman will bring up Tajay Spears' yards per reception on his appearance this morning because he thinks it's a meaningful stat for absolutely no reason. This from Zach Lyons on the text line.
Ooh, taking shots with the called shots. I like it. There's a lot of back and forth between Jared and and those with various stats about Tajay Spears this week.
It's time to call out Nate on the text line for this ridiculous called shot. Says Georgia covers against Vandy. That's a called shot since they covered the spread once.
I don't know, Nate. I don't know, man. That is interesting. I did not realize they've only covered once. That is interesting, but I think I don't think that's a shot.
Look, we're going to get to Pigskin Pick'em later. I realize that you've got to put a spread on it. And 31.5 is the number right now for Georgia and Vanderbilt. But if Georgia wants to name their score in this game, they probably can. That's just me.
I would say you're probably right. But sometimes they show mercy and they don't cover. So I mean that's possible too. Someone bringing up the Steve Smith. Did you see the Steve Smith Jerry Judy?
I did. It was wild.
Steve Smith was like calm, and then all of a sudden he just started tearing into him.
Just yelling. It just got progressively more mad at Jerry Judy. It's pretty awesome.
And then Jerry Judy had like 3 catches for 15 yards.
Yeah, really showed out last night. It was good stuff. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Jared Stillman. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans and the Ravens coming up on Sunday, and a lot more. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
I think Vanderbilt is steady, disciplined.
It's been so long since Tennessee's gotten out of the first weekend.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I don't mind going to another team. You want to know what the coaching staff's going to look like.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
102.5 The Game is proud to support our advertising partner, Pella Window and Doors of Nashville, on their charitable efforts for breast cancer in action. Tune in Monday for the Chase and Big Joe Show, along with Jared Stillman, live at the Pella Windows and Doors Customer Appreciation Golf Tournament.
At the Home Depot, Saturdays are about two things: getting ready for company with the Samsung Family Hub Plus refrigerator
and football.
That's right, Kirk Herbstreit. Search for recipes, check out scores, or even stream the game to the screen at the same time, so you never miss a second of the action, which means you can make your famous buffalo chicken dip and have
more time for football.
Upgrade your Saturday with Samsung and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Hey Jen, sorry I'm late. I had to stop for gas.
Yeah, I can't believe how much it costs for gas now.
I never pay full price. I just use the free Upside app, and I get cash back for every gallon of gas I buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid real cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yeah, I earn back up to 25 cents a gallon every time I buy gas.
What? That sounds like it could really add up.
It sure does. I've made over $300 already.
Wow, that's serious extra money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FOOTBALL for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill up. Frequent users earn an average of $340 per year that can be cashed out right to your bank account, PayPal, or as an e-gift card. Download the free Upside app and use promo code FOOTBALL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus in your first tank. That's code FOOTBALL for 25 cents per gallon.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Heiser. The Nashville Predators won their season opener 3-0 over the Seattle Kraken last night. Colton Sissons became the second player in team history to score the first goal at home shorthanded to start the season. Here's the call from Max Hers, who is in for Pete Weber.
Smith leads Sissons shorthanded, picks up the area pass. Sissons shoots and scores! Colton Sissons fires up Tim McGraw for the first time in season 25. With a backhanded goal on a shorthanded breakaway. 1-0 Preds.
Now the Predators go on the road to take on the Boston Bruins tomorrow night after the shutout victory over the Kraken. Then the Predators will welcome the Edmonton Oilers next Tuesday. And stay tuned for ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport, who is set to join Robby and Rexrode at 8 a.m. before the Titans take on the Baltimore Ravens in London on Sunday. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air. Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun.
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Heiser here with you on this Friday morning. And as we do every Friday morning at 7 o'clock, we welcome in our friend Jared Stillman to the program. Jared, number 1, congratulations on your victory in Jared versus Joe. And number 2, my condolences to your Atlanta Braves. It was a tough one to swallow for the Braves against the Phillies.
Yeah, I feel like we are at a point where we may need to do something about this wild card series. I'm not sure I'm a believer in the wild card series, so I'm very disappointed in the Braves, but very happy that I won Jared versus Joe. So, I'm somewhere there.
So we just got done with Call Your Shot Friday. Both of us picking a bounce back game for Christian Fulton on Sunday against the Ravens. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I heard that. So I really believe that at this point, Floyd used to have a saying that I think he regretted telling me, which was, you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. So that, once a guy fumbles it 6 times and you give it to him a 7th time and he fumbles it and you say, well, I mean, he fumbled it for a 7th time. It's like, well, you know what? You're allowing that to happen. And he regretted, I think, telling me that, because I think I never stopped saying that after he told me that.
I regret him telling you that too.
You should, because I think we're at the point with Christian Fulton where anybody who's got any sanity at all knows that, hey, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 3 times, the Saints game, the Cleveland game, the Colts game, shame on me. So in this case, it's no longer Fulton's fault if he screws up and gives up a 3rd and 43 on a pass interference call just because he trips the receiver and then afterwards blames the referee. Like, it's not Fulton's fault anymore. It's Vrabel's fault, because he's either coaching it or he's allowing it to happen. And now I'm going to throw you 2 in there to say that it's also your fault for being Christian Fulton sympathizers. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, yeah, you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen at this point with Fulton. And so if you're not coaching him to play better, then you're allowing him to continue to kill your defense. So you get no sympathy from me, Mike, Robby, Joe.
I got to say, your plan to just throw Vildor out there has got me fired up, though.
That's
it's
good
a great
coaching.
Plan. Good coaching.
Good coaching right there,
so
Jared.
My theory,
excellent.
As I said,
oh no, he thinks Molden. He's like, oh, Molden will go out there. Well, Molden's not playing, so plan B.
I mean, I could you could put a running back. If you put Julius Chestnut, who's on IR, out there at corner, and I would expect the Titans to be able to get off the field on a 3rd down and 18. For some reason,
that's some smart commentary.
The only DB on the Titans who, when you get in 3rd and massive, the other team's like, hey, let's throw in the vicinity of this guy, because even if we don't even come close to completing the pass, like the Gardner Minshew pass interference call on the sideline where the ball hit the back of the white and was never a catchable ball, they may throw the flag because Fulton's going to either tackle the guy, trip the guy, or, hold the guy. And so let's just throw it in the direction of Fulton. If Lamar Jackson gets into a 3rd and long on Sunday and does not throw in the direction of Christian Fulton, then Todd Monken ought to be fired for having not gone over with Jackson during the week. Hey, when in doubt, throw it this guy. So my point is, there should be guys on the practice squad like Tremaine Brock Sr. out of retirement should be better, can get me off the field on 3rd down and 19. Cannot allow my defense to get off the field on 2nd and 26 or 3rd and 19 or 3rd and 53. He'll find a way to screw it up.
Right. So I'm driving in. Yeah, no, I think I'm glad that you're firing the other OC now. That's good. I'm driving in to Pred yesterday, and I'm hearing what I very much agree with, you sort of going off on the fans who are like, punt on this season and trading deadlines coming, all this stuff, some of which was on our show yesterday and has been on, I think, probably all the shows to some extent this week.
Which is exactly where I got it from. I got triggered listening to you guys yesterday morning, and it was sending crazy on the fans.
And that was I totally agreed with you, but I don't understand how, if you can look at it that way through 5 games with a big picture look, you can't look at the Fulton situation with a big picture look, which, he stinks. He's giving up all these 3rd downs, bench him. That's it. I mean, like we have seen Christian Fulton play football in this league for several years before this, correct? And he was good. Yes or no?
Do you remember the 2019 season at all, Joe?
Yes, Jared.
Okay. What was kind of the pivotal moment of the 2019 season?
The pivotal moment when they lost at Denver to go to 2-4, and then they benched Mariota for Ryan Tannehill. Is that what you're referring to?
We saw Marcus play good football at points in his career. Although Robby never thinks that Marcus played good football at any point in his career.
I must miss that.
We saw Marcus play good football in his career. But
and Ryan Tannehill replaced him. So Anthony Vildor is Jared's Ryan Tannehill cornerback of 2023. That totally makes sense, Jared.
The entire NFL at that point in time thought Ryan Tannehill was such a backup that he had to take a $10 million pay cut. $10 million. He had to take a $10 million pay cut and was traded for a 4th-round choice. So at that point, Ryan Tannehill was not considered as a viable starting NFL quarterback. And so the Titans made the switch, and I know because you wrote it 3 weeks later when they lost at Carolina, nobody expected the Titans to make it to the playoffs. I remember that Wednesday after they made the switch, and we had a caller calling screaming about how he didn't want them to draft Justin Herbert because he didn't want another Oregon quarterback. So, like, that's where they were. And somehow, because they took the bad guy out and they put an average guy, although Tannehill at that point with Arthur Smith and all the things around him was Joe Montana that year. But they put Tannehill in there. They took the guy who was killing the team out, and they turned things around. So if Christian Fulton continues to kill this team, I 3 games you lose me, you're out. And so you guys want to give it a 4th game, that's fine. I wouldn't do it. I'm going to blame you if Fulton stinks on Sunday. But at some point, you got to bench guys, even if you've seen them play good football in the past. We saw Mariota make a Pro Bowl, or at least be a Pro Bowl alternate, and was going to make it, but then he broke his leg. We saw that with Mariota, but he had to go to the bench. And we've seen Christian Fulton play, 1 year of average corner, 1.5, because last year was a half a year of like average starting corner. But at this point, he's got to go to the bench. And it's okay to bench somebody.
Hey, Robby, headline, radio host says Anthony Vildor is the next Ryan Tannehill.
I mean, you're the one that was bitching last year about why don't they play Raditz at left tackle with Daly stinking it up so bad.
Yeah, you don't see a difference between Dennis Daly's performance all season, a guy who never demonstrated he could play left tackle, and Christian Fulton right now. Like, so your analogies are just awful.
Dennis Daly started for the Carolina Panthers for like 3 or 4 years. Now, I can't tell you if he was any good or not because I didn't watch. And our friend Julian Council told me that he was not. But, I mean, he played.
Cool.
Cool
story, bro.
That's your whole defense from that is your whole defense.
What?
I said Fulton. That's your whole defense for Fulton.
Fulton was good, Jared.
No, he was not.
Oh, my God.
No, he was not.
Robby,
he did
help
not
me.
play in 2020.
Get him
He was
out.
fine in 2021. He was fine for half the year last year. Then he got hurt. We never saw him again.
Why do you have to like twist facts when you're losing an argument? Just take the L again.
Well, how am I losing the argument? You want to play the corner that stinks.
You said he was never good.
Accountability. You want no accountability for when he goes out there for the 4th time and costs you a game this season.
We've both said that he should be this game if he goes out there and there's some bad stuff again and he's like ducking in and getting burned on double moves. And yeah, at some point you got to be like, okay, dude, I can't do it. But yeah, right now I would not bench him right now. And I would also not make arguments like you're making right now ever because they make no sense.
Can't bench anybody, Joe.
Let's quickly get into the red zone because, Jared, you and I talked about this yesterday. I think the fact that they've targeted Hopkins twice in the red zone is ridiculous. How do they fix this red zone offense, which has been absolutely terrible to this point?
Boy, I tell you, they need to go back to March. And whenever Rand Carthon walked into Vrabel's office or Vrabel walked into Rand Carthon's office and said, hey, I think Andre Dillard can be our left tackle. And I think that 270-pound center can be our starting center. They need to go back to March and they need to undo those mistakes because they can't run the ball in the red zone. And they can't run the ball in the red zone because with the less space in the red zone, they can bring the big old fatties in there and they can just push them back. So now you can't run in the red zone. So that takes away half of what you're trying to do, which is why, you have to run these gimmick plays every time you get in the red zone, right? Like a Derrick Henry pass or the other Derrick Henry pass or the fake to Henry, set up the pitch to Spears on the other side. So that's the first thing. I mean, Tannehill missed what should have been a touchdown to Nick Westbrook-Akine. So that's a quarterback error. And I think they need to play Josh Wiley over Chigakonkwo right now because Josh Wiley is the only guy on the team outside of DeAndre Hopkins that has demonstrated the ability to make a combat catch this year. And Chigakonkwo can't even just make a regular catch right now. So I think that, those are kind of your options at this point, but the red zone's a mess. I mean, and Robby, we talked about this yesterday. I mean, at some point, Tannehill is going to have to take the risk of throwing to a completely double-covered DeAndre Hopkins in the red zone in the hopes that DeAndre Hopkins can go up and make a catch. But I think Tannehill is too worried about giving up the 3 points to take that risk that he's not going to put the ball in harm's way. And I understand why he would feel that way. The Titans, for the most part, play a bunch of close games. And every time they get down in the red zone, like 3 points, pretty valuable. And so if you give away the 3 points because you're taking the risk at the 7 for DeAndre, like I understand kind of the give and the take here. But I do think that at this point, as far as combat catches are concerned, they don't have enough guys that can make contested catches, and DeAndre's one of them.
Have you considered Anthony Vildor at tight end?
How's it going, Joe? I mean, you just love playing the guys who don't produce. Deion Sanders has it like right above his desk at Colorado. It says, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good. For Joe, it should be, if before the season you were supposed to be a good player, I'll cover you well.
Wow. Okay. That was a good one, Jared.
I didn't see Tony Gonzalez at a Chigakonkwo last year, and I thought Chig was going to be a starting-ish tight end. I mean, I had my worries that he could do it, but I didn't see Tony Gonzalez. And here you are saying you can't put Josh Wiley in there, so you want me to leave out the corner that can't cover and the tight end that can't catch.
I didn't say don't play Josh Wiley, but I think you probably need both of those guys, right? You need multiple tight ends who are part of your offense. No?
Well, I mean, how many players am I putting out there in the red zone? Because I have Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins, and now I got 2 tight ends. So
we know you're not putting
space
Spears
for
out
one
there.
more guy. I gotta have Spears. I mean, Spears is like, how could you leave Marshall Faulk on the bench?
Jared Stillman joins us every Friday morning at 7 o'clock. Jared, we love you. Thanks for being with us. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Always a pleasure to be on with the Boohoo Fulton crew.
Yes, thank you. I can't wait till his interception on Sunday. It's going to be awesome.
I did hear your called shot on that. Good freaking luck. If he intercepts a pass, that's going to be the worst thing that ever happened to the Titans. It's like that guy that can't hit a home run that goes up and hits a home run, and then every time they're going up there, every time for the next week and a half swinging for the fences.
He'll be looking for picks left and right, baby. Looking forward to it.
I'm sure Joe will have something nice to write about him.
Lance wants to remind you how livid you were when the Titans didn't get Russell Wilson, by the way. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
And Aaron Rodgers.
Here on the text line with Robby and Rexrode.
Yes, thank you. We'll take your thoughts on what Jared Stillman had to say. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to look ahead to the Ravens and the Titans. Coming up next, the Titans have arrived in London. So Paul Koharski serving as basically like some paparazzi over there, which is interesting to watch on Twitter right now.
What are you all doing? Hey, look at me. Hey,
Is that sleep okay?
Is that someone taking off their pants? Hold on, move out of the way.
More on the Titans next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vanderbilt and Georgia from First Bank Stadium. Kickoff at 11 a.m. Coverage starts at 9:30.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolex. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
How are you? My name's Scott Van Pelt, host of SV Pod, along with my partner in crime, Stanford Steve. What do we talk about mostly on the podcast, Steve?
Sports.
Some.
Parenting.
I feel like that comes up a lot. I feel like most recently I've needed some help because I feel like my shortcomings there are evident. It's life stuff, relatable content.
It's fun.
It's just two bald-headed goons just talking about nonsense a lot in a crowded podcast space. There's that one.
We're here.
Here we are.
It's Wrangler season out there. T-shirt days, denim jacket nights. A pair of broken-in jeans you could live in. Open roads, endless horizons, no destinations. This is when adventure starts calling. And you need to be ready in jeans that are made for the unpredictable journey that we call life. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
If you're just tuning in, this is Fan 23, Fansville's #1 sports radio station.
Brought to you by Tasty Dr. Pepper.
We are settling the great debate, best third quarter snack, hot dogs or nachos?
You know my mantra, Doug.
Yes.
Meaty early, cheesy late.
Well, it looks like we have a caller here to weigh in. Is this Chuck?
Popcorn in the third is the move.
What?
You go with passive snacking after halftime.
No, it's nachos.
Look, as long as there's an ice cold Dr. Pepper there to wash it down, I'm good with either. Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
Want to weigh in on the conversation?
It's a brain booster.
Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Good morning.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This week's Nashville's Best Deal, half off a $50 gift card for Big Play Hendersonville. They offer everything from bowling, laser tag, indoor go-karts, bumper cars, and arcade, plus fantastic food and more. Right now, you can get half off a $50 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals and check out all that they offer. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Friday morning. Rexrode, anytime he's got a smile, just beaming across his face when we come back from break, it makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah, well, here on the text line with Robby and Rexrode, I gotta say, Chris made me laugh. He's like Vildor. Who are we talking? Harry Potter? And from now on, we shall call Vildor he who shall not be thrown at.
Nice,
Vildor, he who shall not be thrown at.
By the way, is his name Anthony?
Is it not?
Kendall Vildor, isn't it? I don't know. Is it going? I was like, who is Anthony
Vildor? Oh God. That Tony Vildor. I tell you what, you don't even look on that side of the field when Tony Vildor is out there. Okay.
I was like, who in the world is Anthony Vildor? Just beautiful. But hey, maybe he gets out there on the field and he plays well for the Titans on Sunday. Who knows?
Lockdown Tony. That's what we call him here in Titan Town. My God.
Oh, man.
But getting his name wrong is not as bad as proclaiming he should start instead of Christian Fulton.
Man.
Kendall, Anthony,
Same thing.
We will. From now on, I will only call him Oh, it's Anthony Kendall. You know what, Zach? It brings up a fair. Thank you, Zach. It was Anthony Kendall. So maybe because it's Anthony Kendall, I confuse that with Kendall, and then it's Kendall Vildor.
Maybe so.
Listen, but we shall, from now on, he shall only be known as Vildor, just like Voldemort. He to me, he who shall not be unbenched, but he will only be Vildor now. He has earned one name status in town.
Just beautiful. Brett in Lebanon says, hey, Joe, sometimes you start to sound like Jerry Seinfeld's mom when you try to do the Karski voice.
I think it's more like Costanza's mom, right?
Yeah.
George, what are you doing, George?
Oh, boy.
I made a pastrami sandwich.
Jeez, I did not get enough sleep for this show this morning. We've totally driven it right off the rails. Just beautiful. In all seriousness, what do you think the chances are Fulton's not starting on Sunday?
I think there's some chance, but I like if I had to bet on it, I would bet that he's starting. Because again, I in all seriousness, as much as we like to, and as easy as it is to make fun of Jared, I mean, there's some truth. I understand the idea of accountability and like at some point, how do you not move on? I don't think it's yet. I've said this before. Here's the thing I want to say about this, which I wish I would have said earlier in the week, but hey, we're still doing a show and it's Friday. We talk about this stuff. This is a great example of, and of course it's a topic that we're all going to talk about, right? It totally makes sense. But the thing is, the true answer to this has been in that building all week, right? We know how Mike Vrabel operates. Vrabel has been looking to see how Fulton's doing in meetings this week, how Fulton's doing in conversations and in film and in practice, and how he's responding, right? So if Vrabel saw all the things that he liked there and he thinks that Fulton's got his head on right and is going to respond, then it's an easy choice, So we're sitting here speculating about it, but there's so much information that I think is crucial to this question that has gone on this week, And so I don't know. I mean, if Fulton is not responding as you need to respond to the situation, then it may be a lost cause pretty soon, which is really unfortunate for the Titans because yes, they need him badly. They need him to start and play every game and be a very good corner, which he can be and has been, despite Jared's exaggerations. But yeah, look, if that's not the case, and he's going to cost himself dearly too in this offseason, right? I mean, right now, what he needs to be telling himself and what his dad and his agent, it's like, look, you got to be just solid and get through this and stop being a focal point. You're a focal point right now for all the wrong reasons. And that's not any way to tackle this year. He's got to know that. And so if he's responding the right way, then you absolutely start him and you give him a chance. And you look back, hopefully, if you're him and the Titans, you look back at last week as rock bottom.
By the way, as you brought up, Elijah Molden has already been ruled out for this game. So the secondary as a whole, let's say either you don't start Fulton or you start him and things go poorly and you've got to shift some things around there. You're already looking at depth in the secondary that is off to a bad start heading in this game against the Ravens. If Fulton comes out there and he just bombs on Sunday and it's not good, are you going Trey Avery? Jared threw out the idea of moving McCreary to the outside and moving Molden to the inside if he was healthy. But now, obviously we know he's not healthy. The hamstring is a problem. He's not going to play in the game. So, to me, because of that, you probably have to keep McCreary inside at that point.
Yeah. You could also, you could go hooker, if you're comfortable with Mike Brown,
right?
You could go hooker in the slot and you could go McCreary outside, But to me, you're best keeping those safeties where they are, keeping McCreary where he's at his best, and just hoping that somebody on the outside can get the job done. And then then you don't change a bunch of spots and weaken more than one spot. Again, it's like you look at the options, and the clear answer is Christian Fulton. Get your crap together and get back to playing how you can play. Again, it's not, if a guy, sometimes corners get old, they lose a step or whatever, or they're banged up and they're trying to play through it, which I think was the case in the opener. He's just making mental mistakes, and whatever it is, whether it's just pressing or he's going rogue at times, whatever, he knows know the coverage and like Vrabel said after the game, you can't try to hunt for picks in particular when you're in man defense. So he knows what to do. This is just mental mistakes. And so, to me, that is very correctable, right? Whereas if it's a physical issue, then maybe not.
We'll continue the conversation on the Titans and Ravens. There's one part of this game that scares me to death as we look at this matchup on Sunday in London. We'll get into that coming up next. Oh boy, what is it?
Brett in Lebanon has a Lebanon. I'm sorry, God, just He has a great quote from Costanza's mom, but I don't think I'm going to say it on the air.
Okay. We'll continue the conversation on the Titans and Ravens coming up next. Make sure you join Jared Stillman and Chris Sanders at Teddy's Tavern, located across from Bridgestone Arenas Plaza this Sunday from 11:30 to 1:30 as they break down the Titans-Ravens game. Our NFL pregame show, which this week is a postgame show, presented by Parma Tractor and Equipment and the Beast Unleashed. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. If you have some things around your home that you've been putting off fixing, like your regular HVAC maintenance or a clogged bathroom drain, Hiller has some big discounts this month. When the temperature drops and you start using your heater for the first time, you do not want to be dealing with breakdown issues, and this month, Hiller is offering half off HVAC tune-up. And Hiller is bringing back their $99 drain cleaning special. These deals only last this month, so be sure to call today. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds of Falls and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
No problem, sweetie.
I can't believe you're able to fit everything in that little sedan.
Bye!
When they move out, you can move on to a house that fits your life. It's time to live in a space that fits your family.
Let Regal Realty Group get you into a home that is less to take care of. Save money or even make money on the sale of your current home. Get more info at regalrg.com.
Introducing Gen Y Hitch, the ultimate towing solution for the modern adventurer. Whether you're hauling a boat, RV, or heavy cargo, Gen Y Hitch is your dependable companion. With its innovative design and cutting-edge technology, it delivers unrivaled stability and safety on the road. Crafted with precision engineering and built to last, Gen Y Hitch ensures a smooth and secure towing experience. Say goodbye to the hassle of traditional hitches and embrace the future of towing. You can find our full range of products and accessories at GenYHitch.com. Upgrade to Gen Y Hitch and tow with confidence. Your journey starts here.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics in Springfield at Northcrest Medical Center offers world-class orthopedic care. This location specializes in general orthopedics, arthroscopic surgery, sports medicine, hip, knee, and shoulder. Get back to enjoying life sooner by scheduling your appointment at tn.houston.com. Houston Clinic Orthopedics in Springfield is conveniently located at the Northcrest Medical Center. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
At the Home Depot, Saturdays are about two things: getting projects done right with Behr Premium Plus interior paint
and football.
That's right, Kirk Herbstreit. And with Behr's wall-to-wall coverage and long-lasting durable finish, you'll spend less time worrying about your walls,
which means more time for football.
For football. Upgrade your Saturday with Behr and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. And with the Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like Certainty Landmark Pro, right at my fingertips. And now through November, purchase Certainty with Beacon Pro Plus, web or app, and earn up to $750. Beacon, always building.
If it's important to Nashville,
I'll put it out right now.
It's important to Jared Stillman.
Like, that's it.
He's not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Something is going on, and the question is, what does it mean?
Or give the strong opinion.
And just needed the bozo offensive coordinator to stop ruining the quarterback.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Check out their new luxury listing at 6551 Brownlee at tjandersonhomes.com. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you, looking ahead to the Titans and the Ravens coming up on Sunday. Joe, there's one part about this game that scares the crap out of me, really, for both teams. And I mentioned it a little bit yesterday, and then Von Miller went on the McAfee show yesterday and talked about it. The turf at the field in which the Titans are going to be playing over there in London. Miller said he's been playing football his whole life. He's never played on a surface as unforgiving as the one that they played on this past Sunday in London. Obviously, Buffalo with a couple of big injuries in that game as well. That makes me really nervous heading into this game, the playing surface, and could we see like a big injury happen either between the Titans or the Ravens side of things on Sunday? I really hope not, but I'm nervous about it heading into this game.
What is the NFL doing? How is the NFL like allowing a situation like this to happen? There's this huge debate going on about grass and turf, and there are the new types of turf. The Titans have that, in Nissan Stadium. The players still, I still can't find. I've talked to a couple players on the Titans. I know Rashad Weaver was one of them who was like, yeah, I don't notice that much of a difference. But for the most part, I bet you it's, and I haven't polled everybody in the locker room, but I'm sure it's a high percentage. Everybody else I've talked to is not happy with it, not happy with Amy Adams-Strunk for switching to it, doesn't want turf in the new place. But that's like, at least, I mean, there's data that it's, obviously the NFL and the teams like, oh, look at this data. I mean, at least it's arguable, it's debatable, it's close, even though every player will tell you, I mean, look, I know how I feel the week after games on those surfaces, and it's very different, grass to turf. But apparently this freaking game is on like the 1988 Silverdome turf, which is just great. Obviously people who played in this league a long time ago will tell you, yeah, we played on cement that was paid in greed, bro, so suck it up. But that's not what it should be anymore. Like, how do you do all the things the NFL does to invest, and you have all the money that the NFL has, and then you let something like this happen where, whether it's fair or not, or true or not, every single injury that happens in this game Sunday will be directly traced to that turf.
I mean, Von Miller basically said it was like playing on asphalt out there. Like it's not good. I mean, it's amazing to me that this is happening. And look, I know Jacksonville had to play on the same turf, and they ended up being relatively fine and healthy throughout the game. So I'm hoping nothing happens on Sunday, but I'm just worried about it. Particularly, Derrick Henry carrying the ball as many times as he carries it, or, Harold Landry coming off the ACL, playing on a surface like that. Like, what's that going to mean? I hope nothing bad happens on Sunday from that standpoint. And look, somebody could get hurt, and maybe it has nothing to do with the turf. But to your point, that's the only thing the talking point is going to be if it happens on Sunday in this game.
Yeah, it's like, and again, it's also like, for me, I'm a little confused because obviously these stadiums are primarily used for the other football.
Correct.
Which my understanding is that's right. I mean, for the most part, that's always on grass, right? And so, like, that's an absolute non-starter to play soccer on anything but grass. But bringing the American football on, here you go. Here, here's a bocce ball. No, not bocce ball. Here's a racquetball court. Bocce ball is actually on grass. Great sport, by the way, underrated.
You play Foursquare out here on the concrete. Let's just draw up some squares real quick. It'll be real good. Joe got a lot of questions on the text line about the trade deadline. Some asking if the Titans should be buyers or sellers. Some asking if the Titans could get anything, even if it's a 6th rounder, for Christian Fulton. What do you make of those?
First of all, I do feel like there's a little bit of, like I responded to one. I was like, the NFL trading deadline is not MLB or NHL or NBA, right?
It's pretty boring.
Yeah. Now it has become more interesting. I swear, I don't even think people used to talk about the trading deadline in this league.
Nothing ever happened.
Right. So like I said to one texter, I said, most likely they're not going to be a buyer or a seller, and most teams aren't. But look, the question is obviously premature because they're 2-3. So they have 2 more games. They've got this one, they've got an off week, and they've got Atlanta at home. Lose both, sit there at 2-5. I mean, we talked about this yesterday, Robbie. I'm with you. I think let's make it a 10-game standard, and if they're even 4-6, then I think they're still plugging away and trying to get in the playoffs.
Right.
So 2-5, you're not punting on your season, but it's looking rough. Like if you lose this game, but then you lose at home to Atlanta, the guys in the locker room still going to want to keep fighting and all that. Vrabel's going to want to keep fighting, but you know what? If you can get a little bit of draft capital, I think they have 3 picks in this next draft other than 7th rounders, right? I believe that's right.
Yeah.
You can pick up some draft capital for someone. I think you should need to look at it. But as for on the other side of that, okay, let's say they win these 2. They're 4-3. Things are looking good. I don't think the Titans being buyers is any sort of
no.
I mean, I don't, teams don't put up competent offensive linemen typically, for sale at the deadline and things like that. I guess any team out there that's just awful, that's just selling off. I don't know if Carolina just wants to, but even teams like that, you want to keep some good football players because you can quickly go from terrible to playoff contention in this league. You can do that in 1 year.
Well, they don't have the draft capital to be buyers. Like you're going to start giving up 1st and 2nd round picks this year. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So
yeah,
I don't think there's any scenario where there's a buyer. The seller part of it, the interesting part is like if you're going to do that, Joe, you got to figure it out soon because the NFL trading deadline is Halloween. So it would require you probably losing Sunday against Baltimore, get into the bye week, and then losing against Atlanta to get to 2-5. Like you win either one of those games, and the Titans, in my opinion, are not selling off at that point.
Right, and even if they're 2-5, hey, look. So I know at the Athletic we had who's your most likely player who could be moved, and certainly there's been some Tannehill talk all along here, right? Like a team like the Jets, I guess the Falcons. I mean, the Falcons thing is interesting. Falcons come in, beat the Titans, and their reward is they get Ryan Tannehill. How about that?
Maybe.
Of course, if they beat the Titans, that probably means their quarterback's playing okay. But what was my point? I had a point.
I don't know.
What were we talking about? My
trade
God.
deadline to the Atlanta game. You get to 2-5. Tannehill's the one that's been discussed to being moved, but could there be somebody else?
Oh, sorry. Yes. So I will say that like my answer was Fulton. I mean, if Fulton just absolutely just cannot, like it's irreconcilable differences here or whatever. It's not working. He's not improving. They can't play him. Then, I could see a team looking at Fulton saying, I know that guy is talented. The film says he can play corner in this league. He just needs a change of scenery. So here's a 4th round pick. Am I being optimistic?
I don't think you get that
expiring deal.
Maybe.
Yeah. 5th rounder.
6th, yeah.
Worth of. I mean, honestly, if you're 2-5 and like you can't play him anymore, absolutely. To me, it's worth a 5th round pick.
Oh, I would say so too at that point. But again, like to me, if the Titans win either one of these next 2 games, like it's just not going to happen. I mean, you're not making the decision at that point to trade. I don't think anybody, if you're 3-4 or 4-3, certainly they're not doing that. So,
and I don't know what other player would even be like that they would consider parting ways with. They need more depth and good players.
Right. If you're a Titans fan waiting on the trade deadline this year, either to buy or to sell, I probably wouldn't hold your breath on that. Now, the one caveat to that, I guess, is maybe things start to go really, really bad. Like they couldn't stop the run against the Colts. And if they just go to London on Sunday and they get shelled and they come back the next week after the bye against Atlanta and Atlanta just dominates them at home, then maybe you start to view things a little bit differently. But I don't know how much of I would be very surprised if the Titans just get absolutely dominated the next 2 games against the Ravens and the Falcons.
Right. Yeah. Look, I mean, there's just so much information we don't have. If they can't fix some of that stuff and suddenly you got consistent issues and then, maybe the injuries are starting to mount a little bit. It's been pretty good from a health perspective. I mean, especially relative to the last 2 years, but no Burks again, not on the trip, not sure what they're going to get out of Simmons and Tarr. Yeah. If it goes bad, then you keep an open mind, but yeah, I agree. Like I wouldn't hold your breath on that deadline. The 90+% chance that they do neither.
Make your silly underdog picks for your chance to win weekly prizes today. You can play at thegamenashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app as we approach week 7 of college football and week 6 of the NFL. Silly Underdogs Picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. Coming up next, it's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Family Leisure invites you to relax at home this fall with all our indoor products on sale now.
Family Leisure has theater seating, massage chairs, pool tables, shuffleboard tables, and game tables in stock and ready for immediate delivery.
Enjoy the movie theater experience in the safety and comfort of your own home with theater seating from Family Leisure. 3-piece sets are only $9.99. Massage chairs are only $14.99 as well.
Well, I want to redo our game room with a pool table for me and an air hockey and foosball table for the kids, maybe even a ping pong table.
Family Leisure has 30 pool tables on display, hundreds in stock for immediate delivery. Pool tables start at $14.99 installed.
And don't forget the shuffleboard tables, a game everyone can play.
Family Leisure has above ground pools in stock and ready for immediate installation.
And there's great sale prices on outdoor and wicker furniture. Huge selection still in stock. That's Family Leisure's Relax at Home sale.
At both huge locations, Antioch and Franklin.
102.5 The Game is proud to support our advertising partner, Pella Window and Doors of Nashville, on their charitable efforts for breast cancer in action. Tune in Monday for the Chase and Big Joe Show, along with Jared Stillman, live at the Pella Windows and Doors Customer Appreciation Golf Tournament.
It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Thanks for the coffee. No problem. With my cash rewards card from Navy Federal Credit Union, I get up to 1.75% cash back. Isn't it 1.5%? Now it's up to 1.75%. That's bigger!
And better! I bought these scones with my cash back!
I love scones!
Me too! Scones for everyone!
When you sign up for direct deposit, you can earn up to 1.75% cash back with the Cash Rewards Card. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
Isn't that aroma just heavenly?
What's with the whispering?
Inside this grill is the secret to winning game days.
Eckrich smoked sausage, crafted with a perfect medley of spices for a truly rich, savory taste. So easy to prepare, too. Now, hand me one of those buns.
Whoa, keep your voice down.
Marty, you're still whispering? Secret's out, buddy. Eckrich.com has dozens of simple, mouth-watering recipes for everyone to win game days this season.
Thanks for the coffee. No problem. With my cash rewards card from Navy Federal Credit Union, I get up to 1.75% cash back. Isn't it 1.5%? Now it's up to 1.75%. That's bigger!
And better! I bought these scones with my cash back!
I love scones!
Me too! Scones for everyone!
When you sign up for direct deposit, you can earn up to 1.75% cash back with the Cash Rewards Card. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Glorious, till I'm victorious. It's so stupid. It's a terrible song.
I will defend.
It is that time of the day, time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. Nice use of glorious domination by the Predators last night after the win, Joe. I'm sure you enjoyed it. Mute number 2 for Joe.
No, that wasn't a mute. I couldn't. I lost the whatever. It zapped away on me. That doesn't count. Wait. They did use that for the. I thought they. When did they use it?
After the game was over, you were going down the elevator, brother.
Yeah. Okay. Well, someone tweeted at me. I should be excited that they didn't use it, but you're telling me that they did.
I heard it. Yeah.
That's very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. I was just about to proclaim that we make a difference on this show with our journalism, and apparently we don't. Well, let's talk about journalism, by the way. Let's talk about journalism. So, Atlanta Braves fans, my condolences. Tough postseason. Tough postseason for the 5 best teams in baseball this year. 1-12 in the postseason. So we got a doozy of a Final Four. Yep. But the Braves get handled by the Phillies, and of course, in one of the one win they got, of course, was a dramatic comeback in Game 2, in which Bryce Harper got doubled off, and then a lot of stuff happened that has turned into a conversation that I find just astoundingly stupid. But to give some quick background on this, 2 outlets, Fox Sports and the Washington Post, reported what Braves shortstop Orlando Arcia said in the post game after Harper got doubled off, which is, "Ha attaboy, Harper." Apparently, yelling that repeatedly. Game 3, Harper hits a couple bombs, stares him down because Harper's such a tough guy, and that's all fine. All of that happens, and then you got Atlanta Braves players talking about the sanctuary of the clubhouse. The sanctuary of the clubhouse when reporters are completely infiltrating the place?
Yes.
What? And then, I mean, look, that happens too, okay? But then you've got some media people buying into this garbage. This is, I want to make sure I have the name right. She was Alana Rizzo, okay? Now, she was on this, I think it's something she does with Mad Dog. She was talking to him for this. She, MLB Network, she's MLB Network. Okay, she's been covering baseball for a long time. So let's listen to what she said to Mad Dog about this situation. If Nick will allow us to. Uh-oh. Did Nick die? Nick,
no,
are you okay?
I did not
Nick,
die. Sorry, I have a guest, and I was not paying any attention.
Jeez, Kaiser.
Oh, my goodness. So you dress up for the Preds, and then you just don't care about our show. I bet you're just wearing a sweatshirt, too, huh? Did you dress up today?
No, I did not.
Jeez.
Disappointments all
This
the way
amateur
around.
hour? What are we doing?
Dress for success.
The rant has changed to an anti-Nick rant. So do you have it or no?
What do you need, Mr. Rexrode?
Oh, I texted you at the beginning of the show about it's in the grid, the audio. I texted you the link. No?
This is great.
This is good. This is a good show meeting for all people to hear. Okay. We'll forget that. I'll paraphrase what she said. Basically, like, first of all, she goes off about bloggers and stuff, like these bloggers in the locker room. It's this totally unhinged rant by her about how, again, the same idea that it's a sanctuary, and that also that the reporter for Fox Sports, it was on Fox and Washington Post. It's Jake Mintz. He writes for Fox Sports. He's an MLB analyst for Fox Sports. That he was like trying to get clout by putting this in. So I'm going to quickly go to his story, okay? Off of Game 2, October 10th, his story. It's a long story that breaks it all down. And it's the third to last graph, okay? He's giving you the scene in the clubhouse. You've got Kevin Pillar's son has a Money Mike headband. Third string catcher, I'm reading, okay, quote, third string catcher Chadwick Tromp strutted by Harris's locker offering a congratulatory Mike is him All while Brave shortstop Orlando Arcia cackled emphatically about Harper's misfortune, bellowing, "Ha ha, attaboy Harper," repeatedly as reporters circled the room, end quote. That's buried in the story. It's a nice little detail. Anybody who's ever done this for any amount of time, when there's any interesting interactions in a locker room or clubhouse that's open to media, yes, write that stuff. The fact that anybody made anything out of this is insane. And the fact that Alana Rizzo, who has covered like MLB for a long time, like she said in her rant, 16, 17 years, how could you possibly think that this is like off the record or some sanctuary? It blows my mind. Like, it really blows my mind. Like, what are we talking about? Stop making excuses for these people. This is, it wasn't even like what he said isn't even that bad.
Yeah, it's really not a big deal.
Blows my mind.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Hey, look, I heard like Travis d'Arnaud of the Braves talking about this.
Yeah. Oh,
it's baseball players are the softest people in sports. And I've thought this for a long time. The stuff that they get all worked up about, whether that's the unwritten rules of baseball or all this stupid crap that we see that was a part of the game in 1905. So apparently it has to be a part of the game now in 2023. It makes it really difficult for me to watch baseball. And I'm somebody who grew up playing baseball and loving baseball. I honestly, for the most part, hate baseball players because they're the softest people in professional sports. And this stuff from d'Arnaud and the Braves, why don't you learn how to hit? Why don't you keep hitting the ball and worry about all that stuff before you worry about the reporters in the locker room talking about something that your shortstop said about Bryce Harper that really at the end of the day is not that big of a deal. Baseball players are the softest people in America. I can't stand them.
That he's yelling repeatedly. Like he's yelling it out. Yeah, all these reporters in the room. I mean, it's not like he's over here like, "Hey, I think Bryce Harper is kind of soft. What do you think, man? Huh? Oh, how dare you listen to our conversation?" He's screaming it in the room. This is a very good combo rant. You took it to the next level of baseball players are soft.
They are the softest people in sports. It's unbelievable to me, the stuff that they get worked up about. And look, I get it. You're upset with the series going the way it did. I understand a lot of Braves fans are upset today because of the way that your team just no-showed against the Phillies. And I know there's a lot of discussion right now about like the format in baseball of the wild card series. And, the Braves have basically a week off, which in baseball is a big deal. Like not playing a game for a week, that throws you off. Like the Astros were able to get through, but that was it. So like, I understand that there's some frustration involved in all this, but we got to be a little bit tougher than some of the stuff that was coming out of that Braves locker room.
Yeah. I mean, and also just a side note on this with Alana Rizzo, like this whole like bloggers and like, seriously, we're like yelling about bloggers right now in 2023. I mean, just stop it. Seriously, like first of all, there's always more people in the postseason that are going to be in a club. It's just natural. Okay. That's how it goes. And this whole, I hate the whole, reporters here, and then the bloggers over down here, they get no respect. That's like such a 2011 rant. Like it's just, this whole thing is so dumb. Also, Ethan from Lawrenceburg, I think you may have a good point. He said Izzo must not have been in the pre-show meeting this morning. Izzo, running a little bit like practice is kind of going on now. They're kind of getting ready for the season. We needed Izzo screaming at Nick today, and we didn't have it, and we will rectify that. We may need to pull in Narduzzi a little bit more.
And Narduzzi might have to come in and have a special conversation. We'll see what happens. On that
he just switched his quarterback to tight end, so he's also having a tough time. So
he's having a tough. He is. There's no question about it. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, host of Talking with TD. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans matchup against the Ravens. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
All the big plays.
Touchdown, Tennessee!
All the big stories.
I fully expected DeAndre Hopkins wanting a one-year deal.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Touchdown, Tennessee!
You're going to make a trade like this.
Does he want to retire a Tennessee Titan?
The door's on the board.
Such superstar players. The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
There's a whole lot of savings going on now at Staples. During Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $150 on select office and desk chairs. And when you buy a chair, you save 25% on desks, storage solutions, and office accessories. Plus, your local Staples now accepts Amazon returns. And when you return an Amazon order at Staples, you receive a coupon for $10 off your next $30 Staples purchase. Now is definitely the time to save at Staples. Chair offer ends 10/28, in-store only. Exclusions apply on Amazon offer.
Your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is delivered by Black Tie Moving. I'm Nick Keyser. The Nashville Predators shut out the Seattle Kraken 3-0 last night, and head coach Andrew Brunette weighed in on the composure of his team after the game.
They know how to close games out, and the Sissons and the McDonoughs and the O'Reillys and Phil, probably doesn't get the accolades he deserves to at least from the outside looking in. He played extremely hard. He was sacrificing his body. He was winning battles all over the ice.
And the Kansas City Chiefs took down the Denver Broncos 19-8 on Thursday Night Football, improving to 5-1 this season. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes went 30 for 40, passing for 306 yards. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Braves were the third team in the MLB postseason to be eliminated after a 100-plus win season. The Philadelphia Phillies clinched the series over Atlanta with a 3-1 victory. This Game Center update has been delivered by Black Tie Moving. Use the promo code GAME to score 10% off your next move.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And the score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board.
Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. ESPN's Turon Davenport. Talking Titans. Now. On Robby and Rexrode. On ESPN. 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is Friday morning, that time of the week. We joined by Turon Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, host of Talking with TD every Friday morning at 8 o'clock. We go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, to welcome in TD. TD, good morning. How are you doing?
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
We're doing great, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. So, TD, obviously, just from everything that's on the line with the Titans, this is a huge game in London against Baltimore. The run defense last week, what did you see when you went back and you watched the game? Why was it so ineffective? And are you concerned about the run defense in this game, in this matchup against Baltimore, who has a top 5 rushing attack in the league heading into this weekend?
Yeah, I think you should be concerned heading into this game because it's a similar type of attack in that you have a quarterback who is able to run with the football. So that's going to impact the run defense. You're going to have to assign one guy to make sure that Lamar Jackson doesn't do what he does pretty much every week. So you do have that. I mean, you look last week, the problem mainly was guys couldn't get off their blocks. And then, the guards were getting up on the linebackers and they were clearing them out. And that was just opening up a path for Zach Moss to run the ball. So they definitely have to make sure that this week they're not getting they got to get that magnet out their chest, so to speak, and get off their blocks and make sure that they're filling their gaps, and that way you have that wall set up. So it's going to be tough, but I mean the good thing for the Titans is that Gus Edwards isn't the same explosive back that Zach Moss was. So it's a different matchup there.
Of course, TD, you've also got, you got Tier Tart, of course, misses the last game. And, I know we were joking about this, but I mean, really, it's like he may have made some money not being on the field last week because they obviously missed him. But he's been banged up. So now Jeff Simmons, and I think he definitely suffered in terms of performance in that Colts game after he hurt the shoulder in the first half. So
yeah,
I'm assuming at least not full of health if those, from those guys Sunday. What else? I know the Titans have churned a little bit at the bottom of the roster there, but is there anyone else who needs to step up here for the front? We know the linebackers have to play better, but for the front itself, if those guys are limited.
Yeah, I mean, it leaves Kyle Pecco, as an option. Jaleel Johnson, he was getting moved so much last week, and that was a big problem there also. So, hopefully for their sake, they'll be able to get Tier Tart in the lineup. He did travel with them from what I understand, so that is a good thing. And if he's in there, Tier Tart is that guy, man. Like, he gets that penetration into the backfield, and if he doesn't get the tackle for a loss, he'll at least redirect the running back. So now he won't have that momentum going to the line. So I think, Tyler Stallworth is the guy that they signed, and seeing him in the locker room and on the field, like that's a big dude. You know what I mean? So maybe he's someone that could occupy some space right there next to Simmons as well.
TD, DeAndre Hopkins with a huge game last week, and it looks to me like he and Tannehill continue to build chemistry on a week-by-week basis. How encouraged should Titans fans be by what they've seen from Hopkins to this point? And do you feel like there's maybe even more room for him to grow in this offense as they move forward?
Yeah, Titans fans should be very encouraged. And there was a play, and I asked Tannehill about this specific play, and he said that was an example of the progression that they've made as far as being on the same page. And basically, DeAndre Hopkins, he ran like a curl or a sit route, and he was able to he wasn't open, but he was able to uncover, and he moved a little bit with Tannehill, and Tannehill hit him, and it was a nice gain. And that was an example just of how even when the play doesn't go right, they're able to go off schedule a little bit, same page and connect. And there were a few times, when you look at DeAndre Hopkins and what he was doing, running through that zone defense, it was definitely a really good job. And he showed that he still has it. He made a catch along the sideline, too, that was just ridiculous. And the trust that Tannehill has, and just throwing to a spot and DeAndre Hopkins going to get it was definitely on display. So it's very encouraging. Hopkins, he continues to make a catch in every game that he plays, and that's something that, I think it's 151 straight. So he's looking to go to 152. And that's a part of the reason why, the way he and Tannehill are on the same page, at least this year, through 5 games.
So we've had a couple debates going back and forth on this station this week, TD, and probably in the fan base too. One about Christian Fulton. So I guess I'll see where you come down on both of these. I wasn't able to hear you with Jared, but Jared, of course, wants Christian Fulton benched and deported or whatever. It's you got to bench him 5 games in. Yeah, I disagree. I mean, I think you have to try to see if he can respond. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that, but also just the Derrick Henry, Tyjae Spears.
I knew that
was, the back and forth. Because honestly, I'm kind of in the middle on this. Feel like Willie and D-Mace are sort of like, way more Spears. And I agree that he brings some things that Derrick doesn't, but I think it's a nice compliment. But when they have had more work for Derrick Henry, those have been their more successful games, and I think he sets up a lot. So those two things, where do you come down on those?
Yeah, so, a lot of people, something doesn't go right. They say fire the coach, bench the player, so on and so forth. And look, man, bottom line, Christian Fulton has not played well. There's no disputing that. He has played very bad football. I'll tell you that. But I think when you have a guy like that that's very talented, and just struggling a bit, you got to let him play through it because when he's right, he's right. And I think for him, it's just a matter of just fall back on your technique, stop getting caught with your eyes in the backfield, and don't sit on the sticks as much. You know, you got to understand that teams are going to double move you because it's a copycat league. They watch film, they see what works, and they're going to try it. And what's been working against him is the double move. So he just has to, you know, not get caught up as much as he's been as far as trying to jump passes and routes rather and doing those things. And I think, you know, like I said, just resort back to your technique. As an athlete, that's all you have to do. That's always going to keep you in the right position if you're able to do that. And like Mike Vrabel said, there have been times where he's been in phase and, you know, it's a questionable call here, questionable call there. So he hasn't played well, so he'll have to get that right. But the only way to get that right is to play through it. Like you're not going to correct it by sitting on the bench. Now, as far as this Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears thing, you know, I'll tell you the same thing I told Jarrett yesterday. I don't understand why you can't like both of them. You know what I mean? There is no rule that says, hey, I can't like Tajay Spears as a player and Derrick Henry. And I think when you look at this, obviously Derrick Henry is a guy that you want to give the football. You want him to get his touches. But quite frankly, Tajay Spears isn't the one that's cutting into Derrick Henry's touches. They're passing the ball a lot too. So you have to look at that as well. And I think when you have Tajay Spears in the game, he does give you a bit of a more sudden player. He's I'm not going to say more explosive, you know, because Henry is still very explosive as a player. You know, if he gets to the second level, you know, we saw what he did against the Chargers, you know, with that 29-yard run. So you definitely know that it's there. I just think you got to get both of them touches and you play off of them. Whereas just what Tim Kelly is doing, you know, you send Tajay Spears in motion and you run Henry the opposite direction and vice versa. So I think they're using them appropriately. And it's really just all about the flow of the game. There are going to be games, like I would imagine this is a game this weekend that's going to dictate Derrick Henry. You want him to have more touches because you want to control and out-physical the other team, which prides themselves on being physical. So this week, yes, more Henry. There's going to be other weeks where it's like, okay, more Spears because you need a different look. So for me, you know, it's Benz and a Beamer, you know what I mean? Not Beamer or a Benz. That's how I look at it.
Ron Davenport with us here on Robby and Rexrode. TD, what's your concern level with Burks at this point? Not only from just the standpoint of the injury and getting back into the lineup, but you know, after he does get back in at whatever point that is, how long is it going to take him to get up to speed? What's that going to look like in terms of the progress he can make in year two? Where do you come down on the Treylon Burks part of this right now for the Titans?
Yeah, you have to wonder where he is going to be when he comes back because even before he left, you know, outside of that 70-yard catch, I mean, he didn't really have too much production from him. That's the big thing. And, I mean, that 70-yard catch, I think he has, 99 yards receiving this year? 70 of them came on one play. So, for me, it's just, okay, even once he does come back, how is he going to be able to be a more consistent player? That's the big thing where you can't just have flashes. You know, you select a guy at that position, you rely on him the way the Titans are relying on him, you got to show up each and every week, and that's not something that's happened. I mean, we saw the Browns game. You know, it was tough sledding for him, you know, to say the least. So I definitely wonder, you know, how the knee is going to be, how it is now. And, I mean, it's just one of those things we'll have to see.
As far as you know, this Ravens offense, TD, the passing attack, you know, I looked last week. I mean, Lamar Jackson, I thought actually looked pretty amazing on some plays and dropped some dimes that he just didn't get help. I mean, it's a very deceiving final score, and I think some of the results have been deceiving. What are you seeing in terms of that change and how he's just specifically playing?
Yeah, man, he's progressed so well, and I think Mike Vrabel explained it perfectly when he talked about the calmness that Lamar Jackson has. It's just there's a comfort level with him where he's just able to move around and basically do whatever he wants to do except catch the football for these guys who continue to drop it. I think it was 9 drops last week. But, you know, for me, when I look at Lamar Jackson, the progression to me is the ability to run to pass. And there was a play he had where he took off, and normally he takes off and he's running and he's getting the yards that way. But he took off, he attacked the line of scrimmage, and Zay Flowers was on the right side, and he kind of flowed to the left and uncovered for Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson hit him, and it was like a 20-yard gain. And I think that's an example of the way he's progressed as a passer, whereas he could scramble to buy some time to throw the football as opposed to how people used to, categorize him as a one-read and go guy, which he wasn't. He'll go through a couple reads and he'll take off if it wasn't there. But now, he has receivers to kind of uncover and help him out. So it's going to be a tough task. It's very similar to last week where the guys had to plaster and really play up through the whistle. And, I mean, you got a guy like Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar, Odell Beckham Jr., who looks like he's playing as well. It makes it tough, and you can't forget Mark Andrews as well.
Ron Davenport, our guest on Robby and Rexrode, joins us every Friday morning at 8 o'clock. TD, great stuff as always, my man. Thanks for being with us, and we'll talk to you next week.
For sure. Appreciate you guys. Take it easy.
Absolutely. Ron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, host of Talking with TD, breaking it down like he does every week for us, 8 o'clock on Friday mornings on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans and the Ravens, 615-737-1025. Pigskin Pick'em coming up at 8:30. All that ahead. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vanderbilt and Georgia from First Bank Stadium. Kickoff at 11 a.m. Coverage starts at 9:30.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Go big or go home. Unless you're part of Smashville. Because here, going big means you are home. Big hits. Big names. Big history. Big energy. Welcome to Smashville.
Preds fans, join us as we take on the Edmonton Oilers this Tuesday, October 17th at Bridgestone Arena. Secure tickets today at NashvillePredators.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
In 1972, a Nashville family business story began when Bill and Beverly Finley founded Volunteer Hose and Gasket. 3 generations have grown the business into the local industry leader supplying just about anything to anybody, from the largest of contractors to your neighbor that mows his own yard. Over 1 million items in stock: belts, belting accessories, gaskets, gauges, hose fittings, hydraulics, industrial hoses, lubricants, sealing products, tubing, fire protection, and more. All at volunteerhose.net. If Volunteer Hose and Gasket doesn't have it, then you probably don't need it. Call them at 615-242-0461.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Nashville's Best Deals is a great place to save cash fast. Get up to half off or more on dining and entertainment at thegamenashville.com/deals. Check back often for new featured deals and save money now at thegamenashville.com/deals.
102.5 The Game is proud to support our advertising partner, Pella Window and Doors of Nashville, on their charitable efforts for breast cancer in action. Tune in Monday for the Chase and Big Joe Show along with Jared Stillman live at the Pella Windows and Doors Customer Appreciation Golf Tournament.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Call TJ's team today to see why they're referred to so often. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line and welcome in Kyle, who wants to weigh in. Kyle, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, guys. I've been listening the past week, and the Tyjae Spears, Derrick Henry debate, can we all just not agree they're both great backs? Derrick Henry's our number one weapon. Hopkins our number two. Spears, he's number three right now. We need all the help we can get again. So let's just stop dividing our best players. See you.
Yep. Thanks for the call, Kyle. Look, I mean, I have no problem with Spears getting the ball as much as he's getting it. Now, there's this idea out there, and Jared was talking about this yesterday. Well, if the Titans run the ball 20 times with Derrick Henry, they win. And if you look at the numbers, traditionally they have. Now, is that more cause or is that effect? If Derrick Henry runs the ball 20 times in the Cleveland game, they're not winning the Cleveland game. It's all about the situation and the way the game plays out. I mean, look, a couple weeks ago against Cincinnati, they handed it to him 22 times. He looked really good, and it was kind of like vintage Derrick Henry that you were watching out there. Last week, he gets the ball 13 times. He ends up with 3.3 yards per carry. You've talked about it. Maybe a game that there were some opportunities there for him that he didn't fully take advantage of. Like the Spears-Henry part of this to me is – it's a little bit weird just because I think there are ways to get Henry the football while also getting Spears the football as much as you're giving it to him right now. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And I do think, and Jared's talked about this and I agree, having Derrick Henry on the field, I think sets a lot of things up for this Titans offense. I mean, we're talking about Spears. I think the reason he gets the touchdown on Sunday against Indianapolis is because 3/4 of the defense followed Derrick Henry to the left side of the field, and Spears was able to get the ball with some space after that. So it is, to me, very important to have Derrick Henry on the field more often than not out there. But I still think you can find ways to get them both the football and maybe Henry the ball a little bit more than they have been, but also not taking away much from Spears. Spears is not getting that many carries per game.
Right. And yeah, the 20 carry mark, I mean, to me, that sometimes just speaks to just a good day. You're converting third downs, you're keeping the ball. It's not straight up cause and effect. Whatever the situation is, just pound it to him 20 times, you're going to win. I mean, I think it often reflects a good day offensively. So, I mean, I think this year, at the end of the year, we look back, and I bet you the Titans do have a pretty good record when he has 20-plus carries. And I agree with the caller. I mean, it's not about, pitting these guys against each other. They are both needed, but some people do think that Tyjae Spears should get it more. I probably drift a little more toward Jared's side on this, although I think he downgrades Spears and what he is. And if we could fast forward 10 years and Derrick Henry's still on this team, he could look like me running the ball, and Jared would still say he's great. He hasn't changed at all.
Right.
I mean, he's diminished a bit. I mean, I don't see how anybody could possibly argue otherwise. And Spears does have this quickness to spots that Derrick doesn't have. So you got to figure out a way to use both and use them together. I do think I'd like to see Spears more involved in the passing game. I'd like to see Spears be more like that. If he's the next back, and all indications are he is, then I'd like to see him look more like the all-around, quote-unquote, modern NFL running back who's really involved in the passing game, shows he can run routes well and make contested catches and get involved that way. But, yeah, Derrick Henry does set up a lot of things. And I know that there's a lot of analytics. Our friend Zach, he's thrown out a lot of stuff this week. You've got these charts and everything that show Spears after contact, and he's got these elite numbers. And even that say Spears against a box, the stacked box is similar to Derrick in terms of uses. I don't buy that. That doesn't match up with what I see. I think I said this the other day, but like after contact for Spears, sometimes you break one tackle and you got room. After contact for Derek right now, break one tackle. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. My eyes tell me the defense is still way more geared to stop Derrick Henry running the ball than Tyjae Spears running the ball. And I just think this is where sometimes analytics just can't give you all the information.
Well, the other part of this is Spears is averaging 5.8 yards per carry. And look, I know it's a limited sample size. He's only got 27 carries on the year through 5 games. So you're talking about, just over 5 carries a game. But 5.8 yards a carry is 5.8 yards a carry. That's a good average. So like you need to, it's not like you could stop giving him the ball. Like you need to find a way to give him the ball as much as they're giving it to him. I agree with you. Like he does need to be a little bit more of a weapon in the passing game. But like to me, I would be finding more ways to get Henry and Spears the ball based on the lack of production that you're getting from some other guys. Like, instead of maybe going to Okonkwo as much as they've gone to him, go to Spears a little bit more. I know you've got to spread the ball around, and I know you've got to go where the defense looks. I'm just saying, like, the idea that it has to be one in place of the other just because they play the same position is not really something I buy into.
Yeah, no, listen, like the Bengals game to me, and I don't have the box score in front of me, but obviously Henry has his best game of the year. That great touchdown run. He looked the most like Derrick Henry. That game and then the first half of the New Orleans to me, where, it's like you aren't tackling him with one or two guys, in those games. But I thought the combination of those two guys in the Bengals game was perfect, and it's a potentially very nice complementary situation. Yes. So that's just what it's got to be. But I would not advocate for less work for Spears right now at all. I just think it's just got to be more effective with both of them. Call the plays where they gain yards. That's what you want to do.
Bottom line is, regardless of who's getting the ball, they got to find a way to fix the red zone. Like the red zone is so bad for this offense right now, and whether that's giving the ball to Spears more, whether it's doubling down with Henry, whether it's putting Henry in the king cat formation and them running and him throwing the football more. I don't know what it is, but they got to get the red zone part of it figured out. They're going nowhere offensively.
Exactly. And I think, look, that's where it's very much on Tim Kelly there. I mean, I like a lot of what we're seeing from the offense, but that is where your bread is buttered. That's where, as an OC, it's what Mike Vrabel, that's the red zone stats for Todd Downing. That's where Mike Vrabel said, you guys rip Todd Downing. Look at these red zone stats. I have praised Tim Kelly, but the red zone stats, I mean, there's some realities, and I understand, like we talked to Jared, he's talking about the contested catches, and all that stuff. And there's some personnel realities, but you know what? Last year, the offensive line was bad, and they did not have much at receiver going on. I mean, Burks was hurt a lot of the year. Like last year, it's not like they had a lot of the same limitations last year, and they still were very good in the red zone. So, I mean, I like plays like the Spears run. That's a great play. The speed option with that was Spears fake, right? That was a Spears fake speed option going right. Those are the specialty plays like that. If they score touchdowns, that counts just as much as a traditional play that scores a touchdown, but you got to figure it out. This team has the guys who can score touchdowns in the red zone. You got to have plays that are executed well. And I mean, that's absolutely job one for Tim Kelly moving forward. If it doesn't get better, then it's just like they are going to not win enough games because Nick Folk can't win you games with 5 field goals most weeks.
How worried are you about Burks at this point, based on what we were talking about with TD? Not only when he's coming back, but I mean, how long is it going to take him to get up to speed once he finally does?
Yeah, I think obviously he's not going to London, and they didn't put him on IR. So not putting him on IR, obviously if he was on IR, then he would also miss the Atlanta game. So maybe, as far as I know, last week or the week before, they said, all right, well, he's going to have to miss these 3. Then you have the off week, and then he'll be 100% or whatever, very strong for Atlanta. To me, I would hope that would be the case, or else put him on IR, right?
Yeah.
And use that spot. to get another D lineman in there. I mean, like, so I'm assuming that when Atlanta comes to town, by then Traylon Burks should be fine. And if not, yeah, it's a huge problem. And he could absolutely be a red zone solution, even though we haven't seen a ton of it. I know that he can be part of the red zone solution. Jared from Spring Hill says, do we not run zone plays anymore? Not much under center, outside zone calls. It's few and far between for sure. I mean, I think outside zone last game, 2-3, maybe something like that. They do some different things and they've gotten away from it. It has been very effective. Honestly, they did more gap stuff last year than the year before. I don't have the numbers in front of me. So they were kind of transitioning to some of that. I think Derrick Henry can be really effective in both things if you block well. I mean, like whichever scheme it is, zone, gap, inside zone, outside zone. I mean, if you execute and give him any sort of seam, any sort of momentum to allow him to get downhill at all, he's good at cutting back, but he's also good at hitting a hole if you make one for him.
Coming up next, it's time for Pigskin Pick'em. Lots of action this weekend. Tennessee and Texas A&M. The Titans in London taking on the Ravens. We'll get to all that and more. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Fall is the time for family, friends, and unforgettable moments. Lee Company wants you to savor every second. While you enjoy this time with your family, our professional technicians can handle everything else, from gutter cleaning to pressure washing to painting to new gas log installations. We've been serving homeowners in this area for almost 80 years. Visit leecompany.com to learn more. That's leecompany.com. Lee Company, all you need.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolex. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Insightful discussion.
When we talk about the person that these players are.
3 goals scored in the first 5 minutes.
He wants to be the starter, day one.
Mixed with spirited debate.
Okay, but Derek, let's Professor Derek.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
We got the whole thing covered. We got it all covered.
Here.
Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey
Nashville. This is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Now, it's time for Pigskin Pick'em with Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time for Pigskin Pick'em here on Robby and Rexrode. Lots of action this weekend. Georgia taking on Vanderbilt here in Nashville. Tennessee and Texas A&M at Neyland Stadium. And, of course, the Titans taking on the Ravens over in London. A quick standings update in the competition. It was a good week for me last week. 5-1 with my lock. Nick goes 3-3, no lock. Joe Rexrode also 3-3, no lock last week, which brings the standings overall. Joe Rexrode 20-16 overall, 3-3 on his locks, good for 23 points. Robby Stanley 19-17, 3-3 on my locks as well, 22 points. Nick Keyser 17-19 overall, 1-5 on his locks, good for 18 points. So the locks killing Keyser at the moment. We'll see if there's some improvement this week on that front. Let's begin with Georgia and Vanderbilt. Joe, you're up first. Georgia favored by 31.5 in this game.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a tough one, but I envision it's tough to go with Vandy. I mean, they don't cover for the most part. I think they did. Have they covered once or twice this year? Maybe
once. Yeah,
I think they actually got them the one time they covered. If they or whatever, I got one, but I'm gonna go Vandy. I'm gonna go final score of Georgia 41, Vandy 10. A little bit of mercy, I guess, from Georgia. I mean, I agree with what you said earlier. I think they could basically name their score, especially the way they played last week against Kentucky. But that half has got me sort of spooked. So I'm going to go 41-10 Georgia, and I will take Vandy, and I'm sure I'll be the only one.
I'm going Georgia. Look, I don't think Vanderbilt's offense, even though I think they're equipped in the passing game, I don't think they're going to be able to do much against this Georgia team. And I think Georgia figured some things out offensively, and Vanderbilt's defense is atrocious. So I'll go with Georgia in this game. I think they're going to win somewhere in the neighborhood of 45-3. So I'll go Georgia in this matchup. Nick Keyser, Georgia, favored by 31.5.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that score. I think it'll be I don't think there's going to be any remorse whatsoever. So I'm going to go Georgia here in this matchup as well, guys.
Texas A&M traveling to Neyland Stadium to take on Tennessee. Tennessee is favored by 3 points in this game at home. This is a huge game for Tennessee. They've got Alabama coming up next week. They've got Kentucky and Missouri on the road in the SEC as well. So a huge game for Tennessee at home at Neyland Stadium. I'll start on this one. I'm going to take Texas A&M plus the 3, and I'm going to take Texas A&M to win the game outright.
Wow.
So I don't love this matchup for Tennessee. The front that Texas A&M has, I think, is going to cause a lot of problems for Tennessee. I think they're going to be able to rush the passer in Joe Milton. I don't think Tennessee's running game is going to be able to be the strength that it has been all year long in this matchup, and I think that's going to cause a huge problem for the Vols. So I think it's going to be close. I think it'll come down to the wire, but I'll take Texas A&M plus the 3, and I'll take them to win outright as well. Nick Keyser, Texas A&M, Tennessee favored by 3.
I think they squeeze it out, Robby. I think the Vols -3 is still an attractive pick to me. I think they have a lot going against them, but they're at home. So give them the juice at home. I think that they come out on top here this weekend in Neyland.
Joe Rexrode, Tennessee favored by 3 in this matchup.
Yeah, no, I hear everything you're saying about the matchup. I think it's a it's a toss-up game. If they're playing on a neutral site, or certainly at A&M, I would like the Aggies. I think the home Vols defensively get after it, get after the young quarterback, get a strip sack, make play. I think it's going to be a not very high-scoring game, and I think it's one on defense. I will go with the Vols.
They're going with the Vols minus the 3. The Ravens and the Titans coming up from London early Sunday morning. Ravens are favored by 4 in this matchup. Nick Keyser, who do you have in this one? The Titans and the Ravens.
I don't really like the 4, to be honest with you guys. It's kind of a weird number for this matchup, albeit this has just been a weird season for both teams. But give me the Ravens in this matchup. I don't think the Titans are going to be doing that well. The Ravens have been getting acclimated all week long, and so they've had time to get in their digs and get, on the field and get ready. So give me the Ravens.
They're going with the Ravens -4. Joe Rexrode, Baltimore, and the Titans. Ravens favored by 4.
Yeah, look, hate to be reactive. The Titans are very week to week. It's very up and down. And I don't know how much it matters that the Ravens have been there this week and the Titans just got there. But you know what? Might matter a little bit. You can have a couple days of really being messed up with that jet lag, and that and just the fact that I just don't like where things are going with the Titans right now. I don't like where things are going up front. They're getting banged up. They just got gashed by a team that, by a guy they call Le'Veon Bell, who's a decent back in this league. I feel like this may be a rough one for the Titans. Give me the Ravens.
Everybody thinks the Titans are going to lose this week, which is why I'm picking the Titans +4 and the Titans to win outright. You can't figure this team out. The only thing you can figure out about the Titans is that they're almost impossible to figure out. So having said all that, they're going to win. They're going to win this game on Sunday in London. They're going to get to the bye week at 3-3, and we'll be talking next week, replanning that Super Bowl parade route over on Broadway, Joe. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it next week with Titans fans after they beat Baltimore in London. We move to the individual portion of the program. Nick Keyser, your first individual selection.
All right, my first pick, I'm going to go Stanford. They're dogs, but give me their 11.5 versus Colorado. But give me them. I think the trees are going to be speaking something, so they're going to be taking down Colorado, guys.
So Stanford plus the 11.5 against Colorado. Joe Rexrode, your first individual selection.
Okay. Looking at NC State at Duke. Duke -3. It's a little rivalry game, and NC State's a solid team. But I like this Duke team. Mike Elko. I like what he's done a lot, and I think at home, it's not basketball season yet. So give me the Devils -3.
Big weekend matchup in college football this weekend that I'm going to start with. Oregon and Washington in the Pac-12, which is going to be awesome. Washington is favored by 3 in this one. I think Oregon is the best team in the Pac-12, and I think they're going to win the game outright. I'm going Oregon plus the 3 against Washington. And Joe Rexrode, I'm locking down on it. I'm locking down on the Ducks. Give me Oregon plus the 3 against Washington coming up on Saturday. Joe, your second individual selection.
All right, I'm going to the NFL. And a couple lines I really like a lot, and it's just a matter of which one is my lock. I think I'm going to make this one my lock. Seahawks at Bengals. Seahawks, nice team. I've been saying maybe they're better than the Lions. They did win in Detroit. I thought Joe Burrow looked like a guy who actually had some strength in his calf and could make some downfield throws and can move a little bit last week. I think he obviously, I don't think he was lying last week when he said it's actually starting to feel better. He's actually starting to heal. He's playing through it and healing. They looked much more like the Bengals. I know the Cardinals aren't good, but they're at home and they're -2.5. That's a lock. Bengals lock.
So locking down with the Bengals against the Seahawks at home coming up on Sunday. Nick Keyser, your second individual selection.
Give me the 49ers -9.5 versus the Broncos this weekend. Against the Browns. I was reading my handwriting wrong. That was last night's game. The Browns. That's going to be my lock. I think they run all over them, guys.
So locking down on San Francisco on the road, taking on Cleveland -9.5 against the Browns. My second individual pick, I'm going to go Jacksonville against the Colts. Jags are favored by 4.5. Gardner Minshew going to be starting for the Colts. I do think the Jags have figured some things out the last couple of weeks. They've not played well at home so far this year. I think that changes on Sunday. So I'll go Jacksonville -4.5 against Indianapolis on Sunday. Nick Keyser, your final individual selection.
Give me the Dolphins -13.5 versus the Panthers. I think it's going to be a blowout, guys. Simply put, it's going to be a big fest for Tua Tagovailoa and nothing short of it.
That's a big line in an NFL game, but going with the Dolphins -13.5 against the Panthers. Joe Rexrode, your final individual selection.
I'm sorry, Nick, what was your lock again?
My lock
down on the
49ers and Browns.
Yeah, Niners lock. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, another line I think it's to me it's too small, and I'm going to jump all over it. Patriots at Raiders -2.5. It's in Vegas. Raiders aren't great, but they got a little bit of momentum beating the Packers, and the Patriots maybe the Patriots are going to rally around Belichick, and they still, I think, have a good defense, but right now it looks like a disaster. Give me the Raiders -2.5.
The Jimmy Garoppolo revenge tour game.
That's right.
Taking down Belichick. We'll see. All right, for my final pick, I'm going back to college football. And, Joe, it kind of pains me to do this, but I looked at the line, and I don't really understand it. I think South Carolina, they're 2-3. I think they're a decent football team. The more I watch Florida, the more I try to figure out how in the world Tennessee did what they did against that Florida team. It's in South Carolina for this game. Give me the Gamecocks at home -2.5. The Goober gets it done against Florida. I'll take South Carolina -2.5 coming up on Saturday. It hurts my soul to do it, but the line was too much for me to pass up, Joe.
Yeah, that's really, at home, they're only -2.5. That's surprising me. I don't get that one. I mean, I understand, like you said, they're 2-3, but if we've watched Florida recently, they've been really bad. I would think that would be like about a 5.5 point line or something like that.
I would think so too, but we'll wait and see if South Carolina can handle business against Florida. This has been Pigskin Pick'em. We'll take your thoughts on all of it. 615-737-1025. Your picks for this weekend's matchup in college football and the NFL. Coming up next, we'll give our final thoughts on the Titans and the Ravens, the Vols and Texas A&M, and of course Vanderbilt taking on Georgia this weekend as well. All that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Whether it's college football,
players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia,
or the NFL,
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich, brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Family Leisure invites you to relax at home this fall with all our indoor products on sale now.
Enjoy the movie theater experience with theater seating from Family Leisure. 3-piece sets start at only $9.99. Massage chairs are only $14.99 as well.
30 pool tables on display. Hundreds in stock for immediate delivery. Pool tables start at $14.99 install.
Family Leisure has above-ground pools ready for immediate installation.
Outdoor and wicker furniture. Huge selection still in stock.
Family Leisure's Relax at Home sale.
Antioch and Franklin.
It's the final week of the Electronic Express 40th anniversary sale. Visit any of our convenient locations and save up to 40% throughout the entire store. This week, get a TCL 55-inch 4K TV for only $269, or a stainless steel refrigerator only $499. Plus, get up to 60 months special financing on items like a top-load laundry pair, only $349 each, or an HP touchscreen laptop just $699. Sale ends Saturday. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
We're losing too many of our friends, neighbors, and loved ones to fentanyl poisoning. Nearly 75% of overdose deaths in Nashville involve fentanyl, but you can save a life with training and naloxone. STARS, Nashville's regional overdose prevention specialists, are here to teach you how to recognize and respond to an overdose and how you can save a life. Call 615-393-6980 or visit starsnashville.org. This project is funded under a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Picture a swimmer backstroking through a pool of lime jelly. Now picture yourself getting the new titanium iPhone 15 Pro. Now picture a lion and antelope hugging. Now picture yourself switching to Boost Infinite and getting the latest iPhone every year and unlimited wireless for just $60 a month. Now picture that swimmer again, but this time it's you, and the pool is full of iPhones and baby ducks. Boost Infinite. Infinitely better. Switch today. Just dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. Terms apply. After 30 gigabytes, service may be slowed. Receive a comparable iPhone model each year with an acceptable trade-in every year. Requires credit qualification and 36-month phone financing agreement. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from the station's network.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the day. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keys are here with you on this Friday morning. Lots happening this weekend in the world of college football and the NFL. Preds, after a big win last night against Seattle, they're going to be taking on Boston tomorrow on the road as well. So some hockey action this weekend to get to as well. Dennis on the text line, Joe. How can Tennessee counter the energy that the Texas A&M yell leaders bring to the Aggies? A big question heading into this game tomorrow in Neyland.
Yeah, and I asked them back, like, do those guys travel? If they do, they can't, because it would be like a fight every weekend, right?
I mean,
obviously, like, there's no real benefit, I guess, on the road anyway. Although I assume there'll be some Texas A&M fans, but like there's no way those guys travel, right?
I'm hoping they do. Get a little yell leader action in Neyland. That'll go well.
Yeah, that might not be pretty. For anybody who doesn't know what Dennis is talking about, that's worth a Google. It's just astoundingly annoying.
Just Google Texas A&M yell leaders, and you'll be entertained for maybe hours. You might be entertained for a long time. Look, I think it's going to be a great game at Neyland tomorrow. You're going to be there, so looking forward to your reporting on that tomorrow in Neyland Stadium. But I just, at the end of I think Texas A&M's defensive front is going to end up being the difference in this game. I would love to be proven wrong, but I think that the Aggies are going to pull off the upset in Neyland tomorrow. That's just me.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's not the craziest idea. I don't think, Mark called earlier talking about the Vols looking ahead to Bama. I don't think that's a thing. I think
I don't either.
This team has to know that the margin for error is just a lot smaller than it was last year, and there's just some areas of deficiency. And look, Brew McCoy is going to be missed, no doubt about it. The way they do things offensively, but look, it may be. Like you said earlier, Joe Milton has got to. He's going to have to really make some important throws in this game for them to win. Like, you're just not going to, because we talk about their defensive front, but like, they're talented everywhere.
Yep.
So you're not just going to screen them to death. And I don't think you're going to have a 250-yard rushing day. I do think that these backs and this scheme and Cooper May's back means you're going to have some run success, but I think that Joe Milton is going to have to really step up and make some important reads and throws over the middle of the field, down the field, more than he has done. And that's, that's important for this game, but also if the Vols are going to like survive the schedule ahead and still end up with a good season, it's got to happen more consistently. The coaches every week are like, he's operating at a high level. And my answer is, well, then you guys need to do some different stuff, because this offense if this is operating the offense at a high level, I mean, do we want to, I understand there's some personnel losses, O-line and receiver, but let's compare any sort of number from last year's offense to this year's. It's just not even close.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers right now in yards per pass attempt for the Tennessee offense. Joe Milton is 14th in the SEC. They're at 7.28 yards per attempt in the passing offense. I mean, that is not going to win games against the better competition teams that they have on their schedule. Like, that's not beating Texas A&M. That's not beating Alabama, certainly not beating Georgia. you got to find a way to be a little bit more efficient, yes, but explosive in the passing game. And that's something that I didn't anticipate. If you would have told me heading into the season that we'd be, almost halfway through the year and Tennessee is 14th in yards per attempt passing in the SEC, I'd have thought you were crazy.
Right. I mean, it's just, especially, granted, you figured there'd be less efficiency, less accuracy, with Milton than Hooker and a lot of the throws, but just the deep shots that he's worked really hard on. And I mean, what did he throw? Did he throw one, right? He threw one deep pass against South Carolina, and it was that incredible Squirrel White catch through contact, but it was a good throw. I'm quite sure he threw one. To me, that's another thing. And some of it is his decision-making, because you have the deep choice and you're reading what your receivers are doing on that side of the field. Right. But him, the coaches, whatever, someone needs to say, let's Texas A&M see about 5 or 6 of those. Even if you overthrow a couple, great. Let them see it. And Squirrel White. And again, this is where Deontay Thornton, it's going to hurt to not have Brew McCoy. And there's some things that they like to do that are not going to be as effective. But if Deontay Thornton is one of the guys who gets in the game, which I think he has to be, then that guy can outrun. He can run past anybody in this league. I'm confident in that. So do that.
Go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Adam from Portland. Adam, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Robbie, I got a bone to pick with you, man.
Okay.
Another bone.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just like starting calls that way with you. I don't think I could physically be mad at you the way I can with Joe, man. But I do like that, because I was kind of listening for a second to Jared's show yesterday, and I'm pretty sure I triggered him by talking to you guys on your show. So that's gonna make me happy. So, hey, quick question. So if we get punched in the stomach this weekend, I think we will, the Titans. Would you make a quarterback change heading into the bye week? It's 2-4. I want you to, Robbie, you're always on the fence, 50-50 about everything. I'll put your feet to the fire a little bit. I would make a coaching look, you can't swap Vrabel out, but swap quarterbacks, man. Seriously, do something to light a fire in this fan base. Maybe there's something wrong with me right now, guys, because I feel the same way about Knoxville. I'm just get rid of them. These guys that have all given us so much, I'm just done. Yesterday's yesterday, and if we can see something with Nico, let's see it. If we can see something with Levis, let's see it. I don't know. I think it's a problem with me. It's probably not a problem with them, honestly.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. The answer to me is no. I'm not making a quarterback change at 2-4. Mine is, I think what we've talked about this week, you get to about 3-7, 3-6, somewhere in that neighborhood, and especially if somebody else in the division takes off, then I think you start to think about that. I'm not making it certain. If they lose this game, there's no way I'm making the change at the bye week. That's just me.
But yeah, well, and also, so I guess, let's say they lose and Tannehill has a New Orleans-like game against the Ravens. I don't think I would do it, but at least then, if he's playing poorly, then that's important, right? Last week he should have thrown the ball earlier to NWI, and it should have been picked, and that was bad on him. And I think we talked about, there was a chance. There's always a couple throws you can make in a game that it's oh man, as I watch this film and it's slow-mo and all 22, and I'm sitting here eating, a payday bar. Boy, you really should have made that throw, Ryan. But he was really good last week. He was not perfect. He was really good. He's so far down the list of problems right now. And I understand quarterback that's when you signify, and Adam's right. The fans would probably be excited. I think there's a lot of disillusioned fans of the Titans right now, and I totally get that. But no, I'm not doing it until I'm out of it, because when you make that change, I promise you, rookie Levis, second-year Willis, you have a less chance of winning every week right now than you do with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. So until you switch from winning as the priority to looking at the future as a priority, it's a non-starter to me.
That's going to do it for us today on Robby and Rexrode. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll be back Monday morning at 6 a.m. Jason Big Joe up next. This is 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ron Tannehill a 2-year extension.